by implementing over 800 pounds per square inch of compressive force on sandwich categories as diverse as banh mi, croque monsieurs, or gyros, rarely hesitating for more than a moment before diving in and pushing the bread together and wedging it into their mouths.
Even in the cases in which Americans fail to sufficiently compress a sandwich and, say, dropped a stray piece of bacon or avocado, they still led the pack on quickly scooping up this topping with their hands and eating it, sometimes even inventively doing so with a stray potato chip or french fry.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free, you can take control of the airwaves, you can bring up whatever you want to discuss, and that toll-free number for you is 855-450. Free like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in to join us at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
Now, of course, you can bring up anything. That is the point of the show, but we also bring stuff in that we think you're going to be interested in discussing, including, well, one of the biggest stories of the year in as far as international news is concerned, and that is that the summit between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump is slated for a matter of hours from now. It's supposed to be happening on June 12th, and given that we are in the Eastern time zone, June 12th is already happening somewhere in the world. I'm not sure what time it is in Korea and Singapore right now, but it may very well be the morning. It may very well be late morning at this time. I haven't checked that yet, because I know that I have a station in Guam. We've got a station in Guam that airs the show, and if I call them at 10 o'clock at night here, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon there the next day. So what time they're starting?
Talking into the future.
Yes. So what time they're starting the summit? Not clear, but it's happening. And this is, very big news. According to the story on this, and then coming up, we'll talk about education and suicide, apparently, which is what Melanie wants to discuss.
I wouldn't call it education, but yeah.
Fair enough. The AP has a story on it. We're going to get to that coming up, but first we go to the phones, to the fun. You can call in about anything you want. We've got Nolan on the line in New York. Nolan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead. Hello?
The guy who asked about Republicans and weed and everything.
Hang on one second, Nolan. You're a little bit low in your levels. I think that may be an issue on the board ops side. Can you say that one more time?
Hi. I called in last week. So I was the one I asked about Republicans and the weed question and everything. But my question this week is about the 2020 election. Because obviously I'm a registered Republican, although I have libertarian ideas, but I'm morbidly curious as to who the Libertarian Party is going to nominate in 2020, because Gary Johnson says he's not going to run again.
Thank goodness.
Good, which is probably good, because I thought he wasn't great.
Did you vote for him?
That Bill Weld, huh?
Did you vote for him?
I was 17 at the time.
Okay.
I would have voted for him hesitantly, although I was not impressed, especially with Bill Weld as vice president, as the vice presidential nomination, since Bill Weld actually signed gun control legislation when he was governor of Massachusetts. But Gary Johnson, he's kind of been kicked to the curb. He's kind of now people mainly view him as a joke after the Aleppo gas, and he says he's not going to run again. And Austin Peterson is running for Senate, and he's now a Republican, and he's saying he's not going to want to run for president in 2020. So what's the next playbook for libertarians? Because I don't like Trump, and I'm probably, unless the Democrats have like a seismic shift and go back to when they were classical liberals and were in favor of free trade and we're in favor of capitalism and everything.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Which is not going to happen.
Right.
I know. I say that I mean that sarcastically. So
Sure.
chances are I won't be voting for the Democrat. I don't like Trump, so I'm probably going to be voting for the Libertarian nominee, or I'm at least going to be turning to the Libertarians to see who they have. But who would they have in 2020? Like, who would be a potential?
You're in the kind of the same
contender now
position as I am. I'm a registered Republican, but the Republicans rarely put up a candidate that I find to be acceptable. I voted for Gary Johnson. Yeah. He certainly wasn't perfect on every issue every time. I don't actually believe that there are perfect candidates, so I'm willing. I understand that I'm going to make a some kind of compromise. Ron Paul is not a perfect candidate. Ron Paul did not have very good solutions when it came to border control or the lack thereof or whatever it might be. So, I liked Ron Paul and I voted for Ron Paul. I gave money to Ron Paul's campaign. But, I'm willing to make the compromise and vote for what I consider to be the best candidate that's out there that has some kind of chance to win. That's on, they got to be on a majority of the ballots in the states and that sort of thing. And I just make my choice from them. Gary Johnson was that choice that I made, and I'm not unhappy with the vote that I made. But I think what you're doing is getting way too caught up. It's 2018. We're not even let's figure out what's going to go on in this election before you start getting worried about what goes on in the presidential election. The Libertarians don't have any clue who's going to be running. Their process goes on late in 2020.
Well, we know who has thrown in their hat already. John McAfee is interested.
McAfee's in.
And Adam Kokesh is interested.
In.
Rumor has it Bill Weld.
I heard about that, yeah.
Rumor has it Bill Weld is also interested.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not happy about that. But, hey, that's the Libertarian Party for you. They're debased. They don't have their principles anymore, and they haven't had them for, the last decade at least, arguably for longer than that. So I wouldn't expect any miracles to come out of their process, but certainly people
Unless
like
they get Larry Sharp.
I'm not familiar with Larry. I've heard some okay things about him, but certainly Daryl and people like him, our co-host Daryl, are going to be going to the Libertarian Party National Convention in the year 2020, and they will be trying desperately to put forth a candidate that's actually worth talking about. But since they've failed to do that over the last decade, I don't expect them to succeed at
They've only failed because not enough libertarians go to the Libertarian National Convention and vote on those things. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to: is that the Libertarian Party has a bad system for bringing in delegates. People.
What's bad about it?
Well, you can just say, moments before you sign up to be a delegate, you can say, I'm a libertarian.
Yeah.
And then you go. It doesn't matter. There's no acid test or, no commitment to the party, no nothing. You just say I'm a libertarian, go and vote as a delegate for their president.
So you're saying they should have like a minimum amount of time that the person could be a party member?
Doesn't that make sense?
First?
It's some level of commitment.
It might take out some of the fly-by nights or something like that, I
think that's really the issue, is the fly-by nights.
I don't see a negative aspect of that. And to me, who runs for president is really just who gets a platform to talk about their philosophy for a year, 2 years. It really has... I don't see them changing anything even if they were to get elected. But yeah, just the ability to walk in and be like, hey, I'm running for president. You don't know who I am, right? Okay, cool. That just seems a really not useful use of resources.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous waste of money. I mean, if you look at the millions of dollars spent on the Ron Paul campaign, yeah, there's no doubt he reached some people. But could you have reached more people if you'd spent the same amount of money on a different form of outreach? On a non-political, advertising campaign or something.
Different people.
You do.
I can't say... There are some issues I have with what Ron Paul did, but I can't say that using that platform is a waste of money, even if it costs more than some other platform, because it's not going to get you the same people. Running for president is going to get you a different audience than having a YouTube page or a website or a radio show or whatever.
I mean, if Ron Paul was on CNN, couldn't you buy advertising on CNN? If Ron Paul was on some other media thing, I mean, ultimately that's how Ron Paul reaches people.
Aren't going to respond to your advertising and go Google you and read your website are the people who are going to look into somebody because they're a presidential candidate.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, that's why ultimately I do support the political process, because there are people who can be reached through that process. I'm not against or opposed to people operating within that system, but dollar for dollar, you're probably going to get better results off of doing something else with your money rather than, putting it behind a political campaign. But that said, I agree with you, Mark. We're way too far away from 2020 to really even be worrying about it now. But unfortunately, this is the reality for people in other places outside of New Hampshire. They don't have any other hope. They're just hoping for the next great man on the national scene. Nolan, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. We're coming up here, Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Blinkprotect.com/FTL to save 15%.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
Free Talk Live.
But is God against audio CDs or MP3s?
No, all that technology was stolen from the angels in the first place. You wouldn't have anything that wasn't here in 1947.
Why are you selling audio tapes on your website?
There's only one there, which is Angels Over Pendleton, shows
I see several audio
of
tapes
the angel that we communicated with.
No, you can't put video on it. You can't put video on an audio tape. I'm looking at your website here. There's a page where you've got audio tapes for sale for $6, $6.25 each.
And I bought both Nazareth and REO Speedwagon on audio tape.
Yeah. But that was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting the word, if you're trying to get the word out about, what you believe is going to happen in the future, maybe you should put it on CD and at least move into the 1990s as opposed to 1985.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can dial in. You can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. Skype username LRN.FM. Coming up, does school cause suicide? We will look into that. Plus, we can talk about unschooling as well. But first, it is the story, the biggest story right now. We don't always cover the big story in the news, but this one, we got to cover it because we've been talking about North Korea for a long time here on Free Talk Live. It's sort of this fascinating train wreck example of communism and how it's an abject failure and leads to starvation in people, as happened in the 1990s in North Korea, and kind of following this cult of personality. We just talked a moment ago about the great man syndrome that people have. Well, they got it real bad over in North Korea. In fact, they are essentially ordered to have it under threat of violence. And if you try to leave, then your whole family could be locked up in a prison cell. I mean, it's a crazy place. And now Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un are going to be getting together basically within the next 24 hours to talk about things, to deal, as Donald Trump would likely refer to it. And this is historic. And we'd actually joked on the air that they ought to get Dennis Rodman in to mediate this.
But he's going to be there.
Turns out Dennis Rodman is going to be in Singapore.
I don't think that that's just a coincidence.
And he calls both of these men his friends. So it turns out, so for listeners who aren't familiar, Dennis Rodman arguably, I think, laid the groundwork for this. And it sounds silly, but bear with me for just a minute. You're laughing, Melanie, but bear with me here. Vice Documentaries sent Dennis Rodman over there to meet with Kim Jong-un, because I guess Kim Jong-un is a basketball fan, and he's familiar with American basketball.
Also, the movie was true.
The movie?
I forgot what the name of it, but the movie about Korea, I think there's only one. I don't remember what it's
no,
called.
There's lots of movies about Korea.
Are you talking about a fictional film or a documentary?
No, not a. It was fairly recent. I'm not going to be any more help than that. Sorry.
Okay, but are you saying Rodman was in said movie?
No, they were playing basketball. Somebody came from America and he was playing basketball with Kim Jong-un. They wanted him to assassinate him. Was the plot of the movie. But
okay, I think I heard about this movie that you're talking about where it's a comedy film.
Yeah.
So that's fictional. But yes, Dennis Rodman really did go over there. They really did have an exhibition basketball game, and he met Kim Jong-un, and they got along, and they called each other friends. And in this story here, Dennis Rodman said that he competed on Celebrity Apprentice. So that was Donald Trump's television show, and that he's, quote, honored to call Trump a friend. He says, quote, he's one of the best negotiators of all time, and I'm looking forward to him adding to his historic success at the Singapore summit. So I don't know if that means that Rodman's going to be physically present at this summit, but turns out a lot of people are. According to one of the stories I was reading about this, they're going to be, here it is from the AP, they're going to be in a location in front of 3,000 journalists. This isn't your typical closed-door negotiation session.
Interesting.
Yeah. How many times has something like this actually happened? I mean, honestly, I don't know. I'm not a international Politico kind of follower, right? Like, I don't follow politics on the international scene. I don't even really follow it on the national scene. I don't know most of the names of these politicians that get news coverage and things, but this is something worth following because you can remember back when it was in the mid-aughts when George W. Bush called North Korea part of the axis of evil, right? It was Iran, it was North Korea, and what was the third nation in the
Iran,
axis?
North Korea, and I can't remember.
There was a third one, which obviously was forgettable.
Yeah.
So now there's a good chance that this is not going to be considered one of the enemies of the United States if this negotiation goes forward. And it seems like Kim Jong-un is motivated to do this because for years they had kept to themselves. They were called the Hermit Kingdom or whatever. The purported supreme leader of North Korea would not leave North Korea. They wouldn't step foot outside of North Korea. But Kim Jong-un has done so. He has even stepped into South Korea in a recent meeting with the South Korean president at the border, and now he's traveling to Singapore. According to the AP, spare a moment as you anticipate one of the most unusual summits in modern history to consider North Korea's leader as he left the all-encompassing bubble of his locked-down stronghold of Pyongyang Sunday and stepped off a jet onto Singapore soil for his planned sit-down with President Donald Trump on Tuesday. There's just no recent precedent for the gamble Kim Jong-un is taking. As far as we know, his despot father only traveled out of the country by train, and rarely at that because of fears of assassination. Kim, up until his recent high-profile summit with South Korea's president on the southern side of their shared border, has usually hunkered down behind his vast propaganda and security services, or made short trips to autocrat-friendly China. While Singapore has authoritarian leanings, it's still a thriving bastion of capitalism and wealth. In fact, we've reported on the top 20 or they rank all of the nations, most of them, on a economic freedom index over the years. And Singapore regularly, for the last decade plus, is ranked in at number 2. So you are talking about a very free place as far as economics is concerned compared to the rest of the world. According to the story here, let's see. So it's a thriving bastion of capitalism, and Kim will be performing his high-stakes diplomatic tightrope walk in front of 3,000 international journalists, including a huge contingent from the ultra-aggressive South Korean press, sometimes referred to by Pyongyang as, quote, reptile media, unquote, 2 of whom were arrested by Singapore police investigating a report of trespassing at the residence of the North Korean ambassador. While he famously attended school in Switzerland, traveling this far as supreme leader is an entirely different matter for someone used to being the most revered, most protected, most deferred to human in his country of 25 million people. Kim is essentially...
Yeah, it's a whole different world outside of North Korea. For
right.
Them. Yeah.
You're not the dear leader of Singapore or anywhere else, for that matter. He is essentially upsetting 2 decades of carefully choreographed North Korean statecraft and stepping into the unknown. I mean, this is unheard of. The North Korean, media, which is, of course, all state-run, everything there is completely controlled by the state.
Sure.
The radio, the television, whatever internet they have, which most people probably can't access, it's controlled by the state. And for the longest time, every single thing they've ever done has basically blamed the United States for their problems. The United States, and in some cases rightfully so, has been portrayed as an imperial threat, this sort of ongoing imperial threat that has placed the Koreas in the situation that they're in during the Korean War, and has assisted Japan in splitting the two countries, which at one time was one nation.
Sure. That's why they murdered some of our service members in the DMZ for cutting down a tree.
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Well, their side of that is that the service members shouldn't have been on the North Korean side of the border, and that it was a threat to their safety.
You know what a threat to their safety is? Harming U.S. service members.
There's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
Also, want to make sure you know about the Blink Home Security System. If you've got a home, well, you probably should have a home security system. Just because, why not? You know, just a little extra safety, especially if it doesn't cost you a whole lot. And the Blink Home Security System definitely does not cost a whole lot when compared with other home security systems, which are a whole lot harder to install, the other ones, because they involve wired cameras. Blink is wireless. You just unbox it, you put the batteries in that are included, and then you put the cameras up wherever you want them and get it all set up via your Wi-Fi enabled device within a matter of moments. It is super easy to do. We've done it. Mark, you and I, we've both done this in our respective places that we live.
Yep.
Also, it'd be great for a small office, in my opinion. What you do to get 15% off the already affordable price is go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. So, this negotiation here between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un from North Korea, scheduled to start, I'm not sure at what time, but it's coming very soon. It's scheduled for June 12th. It's likely already June 12th over in North Korea right now, yep, probably morning or late afternoon, or not late afternoon, but early afternoon at this time. Maybe late morning, but either way, I didn't bother to look it up. Anyway, this is historic. It's historic in a few different ways. It's historic because the so-called supreme leader of North Korea has never done anything like this in decades, since basically the country split in two.
So is it in Korea time that you're concerned with, or Singapore
time?
7:35 a.m.
Okay, bright and early in Singapore.
Seems
right
a little
now.
Too early for.
Yep, definitely too early.
Trump does get up early.
So it's unprecedented from that perspective in that it's very rare to see the so-called supreme leader in North Korea even leave North Korea at all. There's that. But let alone actually negotiate with their biggest enemy, an organization that, and certainly the United States government, is not a good organization, and neither is the Korean government. I mean, these are two criminal gangs that are going into a negotiation. I don't think we should have any illusions about that. Governments are agencies of coercive force over a particular geographic landmass, and they've got a monopoly on that coercive force. So these are not...
Monopolies tend to be corrupt. At this point, these are the kinds of governments we have. Yeah. I prefer South Korea and the United States over North Korea.
All the evidence shows that North Korea is a terrible place to live.
I think that we could see a lot better things for the people of North Korea if these negotiations go well.
Yeah, absolutely, because one of the problems in North Korea is that they're essentially under a boycott, or not boycott, but, what's the word I'm looking for? The sanctions. They're under sanctions by the federal government. You can't trade with North Korea in the same way that you can't trade with Iran. Even if you wanted to, even if you wanted to help a business over there or start a business or something like that, you would have no legal way of going about doing that. And so it's possible some of those barriers could come down after this, and that would be incredibly good for the North Korean people. It would be good for the entire world to have fewer tensions between those countries. So, but also unprecedented in that when was the last time that you had a negotiation between two heads of state that was on display for the entire world to see in front of 3,000 journalists internationally? When does that ever happen?
No, I've never heard of any such thing.
Because normally these are closed-door affairs. Some dignitary or diplomat or whatever, or the president.
It's basically a reality TV program that Trump is just doing the boss, or what was the name of his thing?
The Apprentice, where he fired people.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine why Kim Jong-un would do it, other than the fame that he might get out of it.
There's fame involved, but he's already infamous.
So, no doubt.
So there's that.
I mean, maybe he feels like he's really got America over the barrel. Like, here are the facts.
I can't imagine that, but it will be interesting, right?
It might behoove him to be seen being attacked by America in his own country for political purposes. Well, this is why everything's horrible, because they keep hurting us.
Well, certainly that's the propaganda from the North Korean government, is that the U.S. government has been hurting them. I mean, if you watch the documentaries, and this is all we have to go by, right, from the escapees from North Korea and the documentaries that have been produced about North Korea.
Right.
This is what we have to go by, and they will tell you that the North Korean power, when it goes out, they blame it on the United States. I mean, it's ridiculous, but that's what they do.
We also have proof that, there's no, basically, besides Pyongyang, there's no power in the country. That these people are living something close to feudal serfdom, throughout there. And the chances are that in a place like that, with some modern amenities for the leaders, that you're going to have a pretty nasty dictatorship.
Right. So back to the story here. While he famously attended school in Switzerland, this is the AP reporting on this here. Traveling this far as supreme leader is an entirely different matter for someone used to being the most revered, most protected, and deferred to human in his country of 25 million. Essentially, Kim is upsetting 2 decades of carefully choreographed North Korean statecraft and stepping into the unknown. There's speculation about how he'll perform on the world stage, although one question was answered on Sunday. His grim-faced, well-muscled bodyguards marched alongside his armored limousine at one point in Singapore, just as they did when he met the South Korean leader in April. But amid the curiosity is an even more fundamental question. Why is he taking this risk at all? Now here's the AP's analysis. The nuts and bolts first. How do you protect what many North Koreans consider their single most precious resource, the third member of the Kim family to rule, and a direct descendant of North Korea's worshipped founder, Kim Il-sung? For those who are unaware, Kim Il-sung is his grandfather. So you got Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and then his son Kim Jong-un. So that's the current guy, Kim Jong-un. His grandfather is literally worshipped. They're not just, saying that here.
No, that's pretty close to the truth, yeah.
He's worshipped as sort of this eternal president that even though he's been dead for, 20, 30 years or something like that, he's still the president of the country. And they still have statues of him all over the place, and you have to bow to them, and you have to have a picture of him up in your home. And I'm sure that just scratches the surface on the level of obedience that these people are expected and sort of deference that they're supposed to have to this dead man. Hundreds of North Korean security experts have no doubt been up nights wondering how to safeguard Kim Jong-un since Trump shocked the world by accepting the North's invitation to meet. So that's important to note here, right? Mm-hmm. Kim Jong-un reached out. He wanted to meet with Donald Trump. So that doesn't sound like somebody who's coming at things from a perspective of having someone over the barrel. That's asking for a favor.
He also supposedly had some kind of terrible meltdown at his nuclear reactor factory thing that was out there, the weapons factory. So it may be that he's just like, well, got it, time to make a deal.
Hundreds.
And Trump loves to make a deal.
Kim arrived Sunday on a Chinese plane, not his official plane, which is called Changmei-1 and named after the ghost shark, North Korea's national bird. Kim may have shipped over the massive bulletproof and fireproof limousine that became a social media sensation when Kim was shown being driven across the border between the Koreas during his first summit with South Korean President Moon Jae-in in April with a dozen staunch bodyguards encircling the auto. He could be seen speeding through Singapore on Sunday in a black limousine adorned with large North Korean flags. Singapore's The Straits Times reported earlier this month that the Singapore government declared that 4 black BMW sedans with armored bodies that can withstand gunshots, explosives, and grenades were exempt from certain traffic rules through June 30th. The newspaper said the vehicles weren't from a local authorized dealer, which suggests the cars were brought in specifically for the summit and may be used by Kim.
People are starving in North Korea, and they're shipping these specialized BMWs over so that Kim can ride around in them.
Well, I don't know if they're starving these days. They got a lot of food in sort of influx from different countries to help them get through in the 90s, as I understand it, and since then, Kim has looked the other way when it comes to black market sales. So
it's not a lot of. I mean, these people aren't. These people are suffering from malnutrition. How's that?
There's a good chance that they're not as well, nourished as they could be. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. But how many of them are eating grass? Boiling grass soup?
That's what they used to do. Yeah.
These days, again, we don't know. We don't know. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. Word is though, Kim Jong-un might be interested in McDonald's as part of the negotiation. It's Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want by dialing in toll-free here at 855-450-FREE like freedom. Free Talk Live brought to you by Zencash. It is another cryptocurrency. There are a lot of them out there, but what makes Zencash different is its founding and some of the technology that they're using. So they've got a voluntarist founding. People that love the ideas of liberty created Zencash, and they're still backing Zencash through what were some tough times over the last week as the currency took a bit of a fall in price after what they call a 51% attack.
It's back up now.
Was taken against it.
Well, not back up, but it's on its way up.
Okay. Well, so hopefully, right? Well, it's come back a little bit. Is what you're saying.
Yeah,
you're saying it's bounced back a bit.
Yep. Yes, it is.
So we had one of the founders of Zencash, Rob, on the line with us last week. Did a great interview with him, and you should go back to, I think it was Monday. Were you on that episode, Melanie?
Last week they were talking about Zencash. Somebody owned 51% of the servers. And
yeah, were you on that episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what any of that means, but yeah.
Check.
I was there.
Yeah. Check last week's Monday episode. You can grab that. It's a great explanation of what's going on with the currency these days and how they've, they're working to overcome the technological hurdles that were put in front of them last week. And it looks like the market is supporting them on what they're saying. So
right. It didn't tank. It didn't tank terribly, at least. And if
it was a buying opportunity.
Yeah, that's what we called it here on Free Talk Live. We actually went out on a limb. We made some decisions to buy ourselves at that time, to even buy more. And I'm still confident with my recommendation to buy at that point. There are lots of people who disagree with me, I must say.
Sure. Well, everybody's got an opinion.
Yep,
Zencash.com is where you can go to learn more about it. Right now, last we talked with Rob from Zencash, they were ranked as the #2 crypto as far as nodes in their system, which is a good thing for security. The more nodes you've got in a distributed, decentralized money system like cryptocurrency, that's evidence of strength. It's evidence of security. And you can go and learn more about their 11,000 plus secure nodes and some of the other cool stuff they've got developing over at Zencash.com. So if you're looking at other currencies besides Bitcoin, everybody knows about Bitcoin. You really ought to look closely at Zencash. Go grab their white paper, check out their website at Zencash.com. As we continue here, we're sharing with you the story from the Associated Press on what's happening with the summit that is scheduled for just hours from now over in Singapore, where it is right now bright and early in the morning. It's about 12 hours difference, apparently, between Eastern time and Singapore time.
Singaporean. Paris.
And according to the story at the AP, they're referring to the North Korean Kim Jong-un and how he's been sort of traveling around in bulletproof, bomb-proof limousines, that kind of thing. And so they're just kind of setting the stage here where they're going to be performing at an international center with 3,000 journalists attending, which is incredible.
Yeah, they're having some kind of diplomatic meeting.
This is a stadium, right?
In a small stadium.
Yeah. One benefit of Singapore from the North Korean point of view is that there'll probably not be any anti-North Korean protests during Kim's stay. Quote, Singapore is like a police state. How can such rallies take place there? Anyone involved in rallies would be
Your
arrested.
rallies aren't welcome in Singapore,
said Choi Kang, vice president of Seoul's Asan Institute for Policy Studies. Kim arrived Sunday at the St. Regis Hotel, where his close aide has been based as he leads the North Korean advance team, arranging security and logistics details. South Korea's Hankuk Ilbo reported that Singapore recommended the St. Regis, which hosted Chinese President Xi Jinping during his 2015 summit with the Taiwanese president at that time because it can be easily secured. But why is he taking the risk? The short answer might be that despite his safety worries, Kim could end up getting much more out of this summit than he'll have to give up. The standard thinking goes that he needs quick help to stabilize and then rebuild an economy that has suffered amid a decades-long pursuit of nuclear bombs, and that the North Koreans see a unique chance to win concessions, legitimacy, and protection from a meeting with the highly unconventional U.S. president who's willing to consider options that past American presidents would not.
Yep, probably true.
Like the option of actually meeting with Kim.
Well,
You know?
I mean, again, look, I think Trump deserves the accolades for getting here. What he has demonstrated throughout his presidency, at least from the public side, and I'm not saying he's not a cagey character, I don't know, but from a public side is sometimes a lack of depth of knowledge surrounding a given aspect of a particular deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be that they're hoping that they can slide some point past him that is really important to them and is really beneficial to them, that he may not understand the width and the breadth and the depth of the point and what he's going to have to give up. And if he then doesn't follow through, he looks bad. They're like, oh, these Americans, you can't deal with them. Gosh darn it, what do we do?
Kim also gets an obvious and immediate win by simply meeting with Trump, writes Joseph Yun, who was the top U.S. diplomat on North Korea until March. It's a, quote, sign of recognition that the North Koreans have sought for decades. In my meetings with North Korea's foreign ministry, its officials have repeatedly emphasized that only a leader-to-leader dialogue could break the nuclear impasse. At the root of this desire lies their central concern, regime survival, he wrote.
Yeah.
Now,
so that he looks better if he meets with Trump rather than with Pence or who's the Secretary of State right now? I don't know. It's musical chairs up there.
But anyway, one of the other things that is a big concern of the Kim family over the years, and this is my understanding having done some reading on the subject, is the idea of reunification. They feel as though the countries never should have been split. It certainly was not their choice to do it. I believe it was the Japanese government that did the splitting.
Okay.
And then ultimately the U.S. helped cement that.
I don't know how
the
you could avoid the splitting with the two severely different governmental styles that are.
Well, it wasn't that way until the split.
Right.
So so they've wanted to reunify the country, and that's unlikely to occur at this point because of the differing governments that you're referring to.
Right. I mean, if we got rid of the DMZ and just said, all right, we're opening the roads back up and everybody can just travel back and forth between the two countries, it's going to be really tough for the Kims to maintain the kind of control that they would want. I would suspect they would lose a whole bunch of people that would just say, things look better down south, and just leave.
More food, television, all kinds of things.
Just like a massive humanitarian disaster descends upon South Korea.
Yeah. Right. The DMZ is, to some extent, the borders, the barbed wire that's on the beaches in North Korea. Those are there to keep people in.
Yeah.
So, how much is going to change out of this? That really is an important question. We don't know. I wouldn't expect I wouldn't expect to see the border controls drop. I wouldn't expect to see Kim end his prisons. They've got these crazy work camp labor prisons that political dissidents are put into, along with other criminals, and basically tortured. I mean, it's just absolutely, from what we've heard from people who've been there, it's just absolutely horrifying, inhumane conditions, like some of the worst.
Certainly what they want us to believe, what we're expected and wanted to believe.
Some of the worst. So, are all those things going to change? I wouldn't go out on a limb. Yeah, probably not. But according to the story here, the summit has been portrayed as a get-to-know-you meeting. Quote, "That's a perfect deal for North Korea. They pocket all of it and lose essentially nothing," said Christopher Hill, President George W. Bush's lead nuclear negotiator with the North. He says the North Koreans have already gotten what they need out of this. Their only issue is how much they have to give up. From what I can tell from Trump's recent comments at the White House, they're not going to be asked to do much, unquote. Kim, so this guy's pretty skeptical, right? And some of the people, I think, are rightfully skeptical over all the years. According to the media, there have been talks about having talks in the past.
Talks.
The Koreans, the North Koreans, have backed out, and they've reneged on their agreements. So, are they actually going to denuclearize? That's another question.
You do not want to renege on Donald Trump.
It could just be as simple as you have two really kind of out there politicians who are like, "Hey, it would make really good footage. Let's go have this meeting." They'd be insane to denuclearize, because then the U.S. would bomb them. But
the supposed claim is that the U.S. will protect them. I mean,
the U.S. claims a lot of things. Right. You'd have to be you'd have to have an IQ like below 50 to actually believe that.
And Kim, I don't think, is a stupid man. It
doesn't really matter if he is. He's got people that aren't, that are with him. So somewhere in that country is somebody with an IQ above 140. Yeah. It'll be fine.
All right. So there's more on the way here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Thing is, you have to remember there was an event, and we should check out the details on this, because we reported on it in advance, but we didn't report on it after the fact, where they were going to shut down a nuclear facility in advance of this talk, in front of international media.
Right.
And that was slated to happen. So let's see if that actually did occur. There's more coming up here, and you can share your thoughts on the historic summit just hours away.
If you or anyone you love has been diagnosed with lung cancer, asbestosis, or mesothelioma, your diagnosis may be the result of job-related exposure to asbestos, and you may be entitled to compensation. Over $30 billion in trusts have been set aside for individuals who have been affected by asbestos exposure. How do you protect your rights and get the compensation you deserve? Call Capital Legal Group now at 800-400-LUNG. Capital Legal Group is one of the nation's resources for settlement of lung cancer and mesothelioma cases. Law firms have successfully recovered over $2.7 billion for their clients in all 50 states, and claims have been paid in as little as 60 days. If you or a family member were diagnosed with lung cancer, asbestosis, or mesothelioma, call Capital Legal Group now at 800-400-LUNG. We'll open a no-cost case review on your behalf. A history of tobacco use or cigarette smoking will not disqualify your case. Visit 800-400-LUNG.com or call 800-400-LUNG. Call 800-400-5864 now. That's 800-400-LUNG.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, June 11th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.83 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,298 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,765. Antiwar.com reports the full recount ordered by Iraq's parliament last week and the May 12th election will not be happening. A fire Sunday in Baghdad destroyed one of the storage sites for ballots and reportedly destroyed a number of them. Salim al-Jabouri, the Speaker of Iraq's parliament, said the fire was a deliberate attempt to manipulate the vote and is calling for the country to have a totally new election. He's claiming the fire is proof of fraud. A revote could only be good for Jabouri, who lost his seat in the May 12th vote. Prime Minister Haider Abadi, whose party did very poorly in that vote, is also playing up the idea that the fire was an attempt to cover up vote fraud. Iraqi officials are giving all the signs they think this fire is intentional, but the officials complaining loudest about it seem to be the beneficiaries of it, allowing them to push for the election they lost to be thrown out. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co. UPI reports a federal judge on Saturday halted the deportation of a man who was detained while delivering pizza to a U.S. Army base. Judge Allison J. Nathan of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York stayed the deportation of a 35-year-old Ecuadorian native, Pablo Villavicencia Calderon, until a hearing on July 20th. Nathan also ordered federal officials to file court documents explaining why he should not be granted a temporary preliminary injunction. Calderon, who was detained while delivering pizza to the U.S. Army garrison Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn, will continue to be held at the Hudson County Correctional Facility in New Jersey. Legal Aid Society lawyer Gregory Copeland said, "Although we are disappointed that Pablo will remain detained, today's stay is a victory for him and his family and also for due process and the fair administration of justice." New York Governor Andrew Cuomo wrote, "There's compelling evidence that Pablo Villavicencia was improperly detained," adding he should be immediately released from ICE custody and an investigation should be launched into the circumstances of his arrest. Lawyers from the Legal Aid Society of New York filed a petition with the New York field office of ICE on Friday to have him released on humanitarian reasons, as he is the primary provider for his wife and 2 children, all of whom are U.S. citizens. The suit also notes his youngest daughter, 2 years old, has a congenital heart defect. The Legal Aid Society filed another lawsuit claiming Villavicencia was the victim of racial profiling and the detention violated his civil rights. Villavicencia is in the process of applying to become a legal permanent resident. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio posted on Twitter, "Delivering pizza is not a risk to public safety." For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the head of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Sunday urged residents of 8 U.S. states to check for recalled pre-cut melon that is linked to an outbreak of salmonella. The FDA and U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are investigating an outbreak linked to 60 illnesses and at least 31 hospitalizations in 5 states. No deaths have been reported, and the agencies urged residents in the 8 states to throw out the melon that may have been recalled. On Friday, Cato Foods, LLC, a unit of Spartan Nash Company, recalled fresh-cut watermelon, honeydew melon, cantaloupe, and fresh-cut mixed fruit products containing at least one of those melons produced at a Cato food facility in Indianapolis. The recalled products were distributed to Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Missouri, North Carolina, and Ohio, and sold in clear plastic containers at stores including Costco, Kroger, Payless, Owens, Sprouts, Trader Joe's, Walgreens, Walmart, and Whole Foods. FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb urged people in the 8 states to check the fridge and freezer for recalled pre-cut melon linked to salmonella outbreak. Of the 60 cases reported to date, 32 were in Michigan. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. According to a Stanford University study released Wednesday, there is no logical reason why planes are able to fly. Reiterating that they fully understand the concepts of lift, thrust, and propulsion, lead physicists told reporters they were still unable to reasonably explain how a large 500,000-pound object is capable of staying up in the air without falling.
We've come up with several theories, including wind propulsion, some sort of gravity suspension effect, also the possibility that the clouds pull the plane skyward, but beyond that, just don't understand how a large metal tube could just kind of float in the air like that. And it's going at like 500 miles per hour, which means that when I'm on a plane, I'm also going 500 miles per hour? I mean, that's crazy. I mean, why is my hair blowing back and forth?
The Stanford team added they plan to devote the next 2 years to a new study on why telephones can hear. In other news, an urban planner is stuck in traffic of his own design, and a kid screams behind a passenger during an entire plane crash. Visit theonion.com/newsbeat for more.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll free to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And the Skype username is lrn.fm. Plus, we got Discord. The Discord on-air call-in line room is available to you. In our larger Discord server, there's a bunch of different rooms. There's chat rooms for different topics like cryptocurrency. There's a Free Talk Live room where people tend to chat during the show, and other rooms as well. Go to discord.lrn.fm. You can get on there. It's free. There's an app. You can, if you don't want to use the app, you can also just use their web version. It's a great way to chat with other listeners and some of the hosts of the show before, during, and after Free Talk Live over at discord.lrn.fm. For those of you just tuning in, we've been talking about the historic summit that's going to be taking place in front of a thronging mass of media. 3,000 journalists expected to be attending this. I mean,
around the world.
This is a convention. This is a media spectacle.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. They've already got somebody linked me, Rob, on Discord, linked me over to the ABC News feed. It's currently live on their YouTube site right now, where they're sort of. They've got static shots of security showing up at the event. So it hasn't started yet, but they're already covering, wall-to-wall kind of coverage of this particular event. This is
like when Princess Di got married.
This is huge news, and unlike that, this is actual news that could have an effect on the entire world and the level of conflict and or peace that we see over the next, decades. So this is big. This big deal. We were sharing earlier the Associated Press story about this, which has kind of been analyzing where both of the participants are coming at. Mostly Kim Jong-un, and what does he have to lose in doing this? And ultimately, he doesn't really have much to lose. I mean, I guess the fear, as you said, Melanie, is that if he gives up his nuclear program, that the U.S. is going to go in and bomb.
Well, right, but giving up your nuclear program is an entirely different thing than shooting a reality show episode with the U.S. president.
Yeah,
But he has made overtures that he is intending to be willing to give up or to denuclearize, including actually destroying an existing nuclear test site within the last 3 weeks. That actually happened, and I've got the story about that too.
I would not go on camera negotiating with Donald Trump for something that I was not willing to give up. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And there's something that Kim Jong-un is not willing to give up.
Something, sure.
That
like
Donald
his power.
Trump wants. And it's going to look like an S show over there dealing where, Trump is going to be like, hey, I got to make my deal, right? And, he's not getting his deal the way he wants his deal. I can't imagine.
So you're saying Kim's coming to the table. He's ready to deal. He's got stuff he's willing to put out on the table.
Yeah, he's got something he's ready to put on the table.
Kim may also, this is from the AP, may also be seeing the gamble in a light never considered by his autocratic father and grandfather because of his, quote, determination to modernize North Korea, unquote. Remember when he met with the South Korean president down on the border, and they did their hand-holding, and they crossed the border and crossed back.
Yep.
There was a joke that Kim Jong-un kind of cracked at the expense of the North Korean state, basically. And he admitted their buses are broken down. He admitted that they have just sort of decrepit transportation system there. He knows. He's got to know, because he spent time in Sweden, right? Like he went to, or Switzerland. He spent time in other nations while he was in college.
Yep.
So he has to be able to tell. They can't shield him completely. You know the old story of Buddha, right? Was that he was shielded as a child from all the horrors of life, right? As a child, they kept him in a very
never saw death,
closed conditions, right? He never saw starvation, he never saw death, he never saw some of the horrors of life, and so he, when he was growing up, he didn't have those experiences. Kim Jong-un, they didn't, you can't say that about Kim Jong-un, even though they've been successful at keeping the people of North Korea in the dark for decades, many of them. Because until, the last 20 years or so, it was very hard to, let's say, get media to the people in North Korea. Now that we have flash drives, people can shove them up, where the sun don't shine and cross the border with them, smuggling in flash drives full of content from South Korea and from the United States. So nowadays, if you're in North Korea as just an average person, you're much more likely to be aware that things are better outside.
What good is a flash drive if you don't have a TV or a computer that'll play it?
They have them, obviously.
Okay. Some.
There's enough of them to where they can do this. And it's like DVD players or whatever,
Maybe they could burn DVDs there. And
they can do that. And some of these DVD players have flash drive.
Put them on a VHS?
Maybe. But some of the DVD players and, technology has flash drive ports on them. So, this isn't unheard of technology. It's cheap technology that is manufactured in, Chinese tech.
Somehow it's getting in.
Factories next door. So, my point being that the average person in North Korea is better informed now that things are better on the outside. So certainly Kim Jong-un knows this, right? Like you can't say that Kim Jong-un doesn't realize that everything's the best in North Korea, like that he thinks that things are worse outside. He knows that it's better out there. So going on here, quote, Kim confronts rising expectations from within at the same time that he contends with ever-tightening sanctions from abroad. So according to this logic, in order to satisfy internal expectations, he will need to reduce external pressure, and this dynamic could push Kim down the path of denuclearization. One of the people they talk to here, Haas, offers a useful warning. Those people outside or around the world settle in to watch the show in Singapore. Quote, virtually no North Korea analyst inside or outside of the U.S. government expects Kim to actually give up his nukes.
Not entirely give up the nukes, but he could stop the, some program or another.
And he could allow for inspectors.
Yeah, there's steps along the way to, to this.
And there may be a stepped system, right, where Kim agrees to A, B, and C if the U.S. does X, Y, and Z in that order.
It's also important to point out that the difficult part isn't building the nuclear weapon. The difficult part is delivering it. Mm-hmm. Okay? So North Korea just doesn't have what it takes to fly an airplane over to South Korea or Japan and drop a nuclear weapon.
But they do have launch abilities.
They have some launch abilities, and they've had some success. But let's not forget that the U.S. space race was entirely about the United States and Russia showing each other that they could bomb each other with intercontinental ballistic missiles. It wasn't about putting a man on the moon.
Right.
It was about showing the power of rocketry.
And that symbolism is on and has been on display in North Korea, where they're showing that, hey, we've got this rocket, it can reach you, right? They're launching it into the ocean.
Yep.
But they could launch it and hit South Korea. They could launch it and
They've
hit
had a lot
Japan.
of problems, but they've gotten some rockets to hit to go in the direction they wanted them to go.
Right. And so recent history of North Korean, news headlines has been this sort of saber rattling throughout the George Bush, throughout the Barack Obama, and the beginning of the Trump administrations. There's this constant saber rattling from North Korea. And this is all symbolism, right? Because nobody wants to North Korea doesn't want to start a nuclear conflict with the United States. They'll be wiped out, and that means no more Twinkies for Kim Jong-un or whatever, right? So now you have a different set of symbolism going on. You have the symbolism of North Korea's Kim Jong-un crossing the border in hand for the first time, in the country's history with the South Korean president. You have the further symbolism and I would say significant symbolism of Kim Jong-un shutting down a nuclear test site.
Which probably had some kind of accident not too long ago and may be useless.
I don't think any of us are qualified to say why a nuclear test site got shut down.
Well, there may be the real reason for it, but the ostensible reason for it is as an indicator of goodwill to show that he's serious about coming to the table and disarming or denuclearizing. So
I'm returning to you the cat that I stole from you. It's dead.
According to the story at NPR, North Korea closed its nuclear test site in a spectacular fashion. This was written a couple weeks ago, so toward the end of May, blasting the site in what one observer described as a huge explosion. Within hours of the North's demolition of the site, President Trump announced he was canceling the summit, which, as you know, there was sort of this back and forth where Trump canceled and then he came back in. So it's happening. Going on here.
That never happened? I don't know what you're talking about.
International media were assembled in view of the Punggye-ri test site about 500 meters away, according to Sky, North Korea. According to Sky, North Korea claims it tested 6 underground nuclear devices at the facility. So they brought in the media to observe this.
From the 6th letter of Captain Mark. A pirate's life is characterized by voluntary interactions. Unfortunately, the Crown presses everyone into involuntary servitude. Landlubbers believe slavery was abolished years ago, but the Crown still claims to own us when it crimps us into service against our will. Given sufficient ambition, it would gladly draft thousands of hapless victims to kill or be killed. It's simply slavery by another name. Landlubbers are routinely commanded to serve the so-called justice system in jury duty. But before you swell with civic pride, consider that how you feel is irrelevant to the Crown. You will appear as ordered or face punitive measures. The Crown insists that you participate in your own oppression. A jury summons provides pirates with a unique opportunity to obstruct injustices. A juror can vote not guilty, even if it's proven the law was violated. A juror can acquit for any reason at all, and not even a judge can reverse that verdict. Receiving a jury summons is basically winning the sedition lottery. But if you reveal that you know this during jury selection, you'll probably be dismissed. If the Crown foolishly crimps a pirate into jury duty, it behooves the pirate to conceal their intention to nullify unjust laws. If a master takes 100% of your labor, it's called slavery. But if they only take 50%, they call it taxation, a difference of degree, not of kind. Whether the Crown claims a fortune or a cent is irrelevant. Most of all, a slave owner desires contented slaves, meaning thoughtless ones that accept their bondage. These house slaves see no contradiction in being drafted in a war to end slavery or summoned to a jury to prosecute tax evasion. An ideal slave knows no higher call than the master's will. The Crown's highest ambition is that its slaves revere the authority that subjugates them. But the Crown does not own me. I will not surrender my time and treasure to the Crown's ambitions. Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. The Skype username is lrn.fm. And we've got Discord. The Discord on-air call-in line room is available to you. Head over to discord.lrn.fm to jump in there. If you want to comment, it doesn't have to be about Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un, who are slated to have a historic summit starting in some matter of hours from now. I'm not sure exactly when it's slated to begin, but it's just after 8 a.m. in Singapore, and ABC News has begun its live wall-to-wall coverage on the internet.
You think you can count on something like this being late?
Probably not.
I would think it would be.
You think it would be late?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I mean, there are a lot of preparations involved in this sort of thing from the security aspect alone, let alone bringing all these media journalists, 33,000 journalists.
Yeah, I think that being late is almost a security feature for stuff like this.
So they can't count on you to be in a certain place at a certain time?
Yeah.
You could be right about that. So it's Ian, Melanie, and Mark in the studio here tonight. I had brought up well, Melanie, you talked about the nuclear disarmament that is purported to be something that could happen in this or during this meeting, that there could be an agreement reached, which, again, the North Koreans in the past have talked about potentially denuclearizing and then reneged on whatever agreements they made or never even coming to the table in the first place. But I think that there has been a sort of a noteworthy thing that happened toward the end of last month, in the month of May, when Kim Jong-un actually did destroy a nuclear test site. It wasn't that they locked up a door and put a padlock around it. They blew it up.
Well, I think, as a non-expert, I feel like it's dangerous to just put a padlock on a door and be like, goodbye, nuclear test site.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Whereas blowing it up might be, and I don't know, maybe it's not, might be the way you would dispose of such a thing.
I think it is, but my point is, it wasn't
Let's aerosolarize all this nuclear
radiation,
this depleted uranium crap.
No, my point, though, is that they didn't just close the site or whatever. They actually destroyed the entire thing. So they're no coming back to this particular site. Now, that's not their only test site, likely, but they did make this sort of overture to the international scene.
That's like saying, if I sell a gun, then I'm disarmed. I mean, I've sold a gun before.
No, I didn't say they were disarmed.
Right.
No, this is an indication. This is a symbol that they're willing to negotiate.
It's a symbol that there was something wrong with that nuclear test site.
Okay.
Or even maybe just that it wasn't profitable, but it's not a symbol of any kind of international strategy.
All right. Well, I mean, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. To me, it's a significant thing to do. They brought the news media in there as well.
You're welcome to the press conference, comrade.
The Sky News Asia correspondent Tom Cheshire from Britain was invited to the demolition. He says you could feel it. Dust came at you. The heat came at you. They were seated about 500 meters away from the explosion. Longtime watchers of North Korea's nuclear program, though, say the closing of the site will have little impact on the nation's capabilities. Melissa Hannum, who's a senior researcher at the Middlebury Institute...
I imagine longtime North Korean watchers are not big Trump fans either. I did speak to a former diplomat to not a very important country, but I was chatting with him on a bus a couple of weeks ago. And he blamed me for Trump being in office because I voted third party, and completely dismissed the whole Trump's success with North Korea because there was some kind of meltdown at this test zone thing was.
Melissa Hannum who's a researcher at the Middlebury Institute, says, what does it actually mean in the long term? Probably not that much, unfortunately. She says, North Korea has already conducted 6 nuclear tests at the site, the last of which was considered highly successful. Hannum says, at this stage, it's not clear that North Korea needs to continue testing its weapons at Punggye-ri. By destroying it, she says, quote, they're giving away the least useful part of their nuclear program. Punggye-ri is located in the remote, mountainous northeastern section of the country. That's where some of the people are very poor. The test site is believed to have been established in the early 2000s, and it became widely known following the North's first nuclear test in 2006. The smattering of journalists from the U.S., UK, South Korea, China, and Russia took a reported 20-hour journey by train and bus from Wonsan on North Korea's east coast to get to Punggye-ri for the nuclear site dismantlement.
I'd be willing 20-hour ride in a country as small as North Korea is. I'd be willing to bet that bus ride really sucked. Because I took a
it's train as well, and it's also slow.
I can't even imagine a train. Ostensibly they've got people with shovels, and putting down track isn't as hard as making a road, frankly. But I did take a Land Cruiser one time from Port-au-Prince to Deschamps, Haiti, on what they called Highway 1.
What they called?
Highway 1 was the most dense collection of potholes you could possibly imagine. I mean, it makes New Hampshire roads look like glass.
Well, New Hampshire roads aren't really that bad.
Oh, no, sure. Come to my town.
In addition to being
your town.
remote, experts say Punggye-ri is an ideal test site. Quote, from a geologic perspective, it's a really good choice, said an imagery analyst at 38 North with a long background in studying nuclear testing. Most of the test tunnels lie under Mount Mantap, a granite mountain that's perfect for containing powerful nuclear explosions. North Korea's most recent test was so large in September of last year that experts have speculated it may have collapsed part of the primary tunnel at Punggye-ri. Some analysts think the explosion might have rendered the entire site unusable, but Pabian doubts that's the case. Immediately after the test, he notes satellite images revealed the North stepped up digging in another tunnel, the so-called West Portal. He says they were going gangbusters until work stopped abruptly this spring. So there's evidence to suggest that the North was continuing to develop this site until they decided not to. Scientists recently estimated that last fall's test produced a yield between 120 and 304 kilotons of TNT equivalent, on par with many weapons in the current nuclear arsenal. Pabian says that's pretty impressive. You don't need to do a whole lot more if you can do that, at least not anytime soon. And Hannum says North Korea could probably get the test site working quickly again if it needed to. In 2008, it demolished the cooling tower for its main reactor at a nuclear complex known as Yongbyon, but a few years later, when disarmament talks broke down, they restarted the reactor using cooling water from a nearby river. While demolishing the Punggye-ri test site tunnels may not be much of a setback for the North's nuclear program, it does send a clear message to the world, according to this, again, the NPR piece here. North Korea committed to this gesture following the April 27th Inter-Korean Summit, where the leaders of the two Koreas signed a joint agreement calling for a nuclear-free Korean peninsula. So this wasn't, ostensibly, it wasn't some arbitrary decision they'd already made. They're saying this was part of an agreement with South Korea to begin the process of denuclearization. Remember, aside from the meeting with Trump, there was already this historic meeting with South Korea that happened, where these two countries came together. Remember, they took down the propaganda speakers on the border for the first time ever? Those are no longer blasting propaganda across both sides of the border.
I bet that's nice for everybody.
Yeah. Very significant sort of symbolic things that are going on here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. As American mainstream media covering over in Singapore the upcoming summit with just shots of police driving around. There's nothing really happening there yet. It's Free Talk Live.
Healthcare reform is confusing, but whether it's finding an affordable insurance plan, keeping your doctor, or being able to afford needed prescriptions, navigating the healthcare system has become a challenge. Control your own healthcare costs and choices with Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of each other's medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. It's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you here in the studio, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
Father's Day is coming up, and it's coming up fast, which means that your time to order from omahasteaks.com is very limited.
The clock, she's ticking.
Like today or tomorrow, I think, is probably, because they told us we're not supposed to even talk about Omaha Steaks
not after tomorrow, so
tomorrow,
I suspect the day after tomorrow.
Yeah, your time's running out here. If you want to get your dad...
Screw around at your own peril. This is a great deal.
Some of the best steaks and other great kinds of meats. We're talking about hand-trimmed, flash-frozen, vacuum-sealed meats delivered directly to your dad's door in an Omaha Steaks cooler. They got a huge variety, including pork, poultry, veal, lamb, bison, seafood, even vegetables. So, whatever it is that you like to eat or dad likes to eat, you're going to find a huge variety over at omahasteaks.com. the highest quality cuts with one-of-a-kind flavor, aged for 21 days to unlock the full flavor and tenderness of the cuts. It's a great product. We've had it here year after year since Omaha Steaks came on with us, 2 or 3 years ago, I think. Maybe even 3 years ago at this point. It seems like it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
And here's what you're going to get with their special Father's Day package. It's 78% off the normal prices over at omahasteaks.com. To get your dad started with Omaha Steaks, he'll get 2 tender filet mignons, 2 beefy top sirloins, 4 chicken fried steaks, 2 boneless pork chops, 4 all-beef Omaha steak burgers, 4 gourmet jumbo franks, 12 ounces of all-beef meatballs, 1 pound of steakhouse fries, 4 caramel apple tartlets, their seasoning packet, plus 4 more grill-ready Omaha Steaks burgers free with purchase. That's going to keep Dad busy for quite a bit of grilling.
Yeah, those fillets are quite good, too.
And, yeah, we've tried them all.
Everything.
It's all good over at Omaha Steaks. And this is a limited-time offer just for Father's Day where you get this deal for $49.99 for Dad when you go to omahasteaks.com and you type in the code FTL, like Free Talk Live, in the search bar and add the Father's Day package to your cart. So, again, to get that 78% off deal of $49.99 for all of that stuff that I just mentioned, go to omahasteaks.com, type in code FTL into the search bar, and that will get you the deal on the Father's Day package. And, of course, you can order more stuff for Dad, too, and maybe you want to get one for yourself, too. That way you know the quality. If you didn't already know the quality of Omaha Steaks, you probably should find out because it's a great gift any time of the year, obviously, for whoever you care about, if they like good food. omahasteaks.com, type code FTL in the search bar to get the deal. As we continue here talking about the historic summit between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un from North Korea, expected to happen in a matter of hours in Singapore in front of 3,000 journalists. And, Melanie, you're skeptical, and I think you're right to be skeptical.
She's a skeptical gal.
Yeah, I think you're right to be skeptical. A lot of the North Korean experts are very skeptical of this. They're very skeptical of North Korea's motivations and what they're trying to do here. But, I'm an optimist. And when
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah,
right.
And when I see symbolism like we've seen out of Kim Jong-un over just the last 2 months, all this started within the last 2 to 3 months.
I don't even see them dismantling their nuclear program as optimism. I don't want the U.S. to be at war with North Korea, so therefore I would like North Korea to keep their nukes.
Okay, so you believe that if they get rid of their nuclear program, the U.S. government's going to, invade? Blow up the country?
There are lots of countries that don't have nukes.
The U.S. doesn't blow up the country and get it over with, but...
What are they going to do?
I mean, having a nuke is kind of the country version of having a gun.
Yeah.
Right.
And while I don't want countries to exist, they do. And so as long as they do, I'd rather them not have gang wars with each other as well as domestic ones.
Sure, and we don't want anybody blowing up nuclear weapons anywhere in the world.
I think it's pretty kind of just inherently obvious that if you were able to nuke your opponent, they're less likely to go over and start digging oil fields in your nation.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know that they have a lot of oil in North Korea.
Yeah, but as Mark pointed out, there are a bunch of countries that don't have nuclear weapons, and the U.S. isn't invading them. So what makes you believe that they are going to invade North Korea? You're just saying they're more likely to, or that they will invade?
I'm not saying they will 100% invade North Korea the day after they cut off the program, but that removes that protection.
Sure.
So as long as they have nukes, they're not going to, set up troops there, or if they don't have oil, or, open a central bank there, or whatever it is they just do, and just,
what if they're willing
hang out for 3 decades?
What if Kim Jong-un is willing to trade the risk of a potential invasion from the United States for better economic circumstances for his people? Because that's what's going to be on the table.
You're not going to have any kind of economic circumstances if you're nuked.
Okay, nobody's saying they're going to
nuke.
Yeah, nobody's going to nuke
Or if
you're
well, that's probably true. But if although the U.S. is the only one who's done it before, if you're invaded, I mean, how's Afghanistan doing? I mean, that's...
No doubt. Afghanistan, bad situation, and certainly the desire for oil.
Just to remove some sanctions, giving up all of your mutually assured destruction is not a good deal.
Well,
also,
I guess
and
we'll
maybe,
see
you
what
know,
the
you
deal
can get
is.
better economic situations by, you know, removing your ridiculous internal
Controls.
structures. Yeah.
Sure,
So,
but if
yeah.
you can't trade with the rest of the world because of a, essentially an economic blockade or sanctions, that makes life very difficult.
Well, at this point, total denuclearization is not on the table.
It's not, but the end to the Korean War is on the table. And
I
I
thought
think
they
it's
did that
important.
already.
Well, it's a process.
Okay.
So if you recall, back in late April, early
Well, they're not
May,
shooting. All they have to do is write a piece of paper up now.
right? Which is why I was, not sure as to why they said it would take throughout the rest of the year to do this, but that's what they said. So when the president of South Korea met with Kim Jong-un several weeks ago, that was one of the things they talked about, was we're going to end the war. Again, a huge symbolic gesture that's even more than just symbolic in that case, because if the war ends, that opens up more trading opportunities, more opportunities for people to cross borders legally between the countries, for economic opportunities, and so on and so forth. So let me go on here with more from the NPR report. This is regarding North Korea shutting down through destroying the tunnels at a nuclear test site, one of the largest nuclear test sites and very successful nuclear test sites in North Korea. This is a quote from Kim Jong-un. This was during the summit with South Korea's presidents. Remember, that summit's already, happened. Now he's doing one with Trump today. Quote, "If we maintain frequent meetings and build trust with the United States and receive promises for an end to the war and a non-aggression treaty, then why would we need to live in difficulty by keeping our nuclear weapons?" Unquote. That's Kim Jong-un.
Sounds like he's trying to put him on the table.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again,
That doesn't mean he's going to give him.
it's just talk right now. It's just talk.
I hope it stays that way.
Well, I don't.
I don't
want any more of these things out than currently exist.
I want to see denuclearization.
Okay, so if I could just, kind of wave my hands and make all nukes disappear and make it impossible to make them,
yeah.
I don't know that I would do that, but I would definitely consider it. But short of that, I would like every country to have one, because then it's more difficult for them to fight wars.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but to some extent, if you got a nuclear weapon in the hands of a madman, that could start.
As opposed to all the sane, moral people that are running every other country.
I'm not saying they're sane or moral, but they're sane enough to not want their own destruction, right? Like, these are men and women who want to continue living in the lap of luxury. They want to continue.
Right, that they won't use the nuke and they'll just leave it there as a threat to make sure that they don't get attacked themselves.
That's the way it's been. But what if somebody doesn't really care about all that?
It's the way it's been, but it hasn't been that way for very long. They haven't had a nuclear weapon that they could launch for very long.
There's more here. Your calls and thoughts are certainly welcome. Coming up, we'll go back home to the United States, talk about education and suicide. Melanie, you've got a story about that on the way here. But from all indicators, including the words coming out of Kim Jong-un's mouth, this is a pretty big deal of potential denuclearization, potential friendship, if you will, between these nations that have been enemies for decades. It's Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open the Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. You dial 911 and the police roll. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime, which is why I chose Blink. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight here, you've got Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
We've got Skype. Skype username's LRN.FM. You can call that way. You can also call through our Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. I also want to make sure that you know about Melanie and the services that she is offering to you. Because if you've got a small business and you want to do something different with your bookkeeping, like maybe you're doing it yourself right now, or maybe you've got somebody that you're just paying too much, you really ought to look into Melanie's bookkeeping service. You can go to tax.freetalklive.com. That'll get you straight over to her website, where you offer packages as low as $100 a month to start. Is that right?
Yeah, it starts at $100 depending on transaction volume and owners. There's a couple of structures that are exempted from that, but for the most part, really small businesses are looking at $100 a month.
Seems pretty reasonable. And, of course, part of that is tax preparation, where you're getting the business ready throughout the year for the end-of-the-year taxes, coming up in 2019.
Yeah, so what bookkeeping really is, I mean, most people can subtract the amount they spent on rent from the amount of sales they had, but what bookkeeping really is tax preparation, and if you're not getting that, then you're kind of paying for something you're not really getting.
Right, and you're also a tax professional, so you can handle that aspect as well of filing taxes and doing all the tax actual tax stuff with various state governments and the federal government. So when the time comes, you can assist not only business owners, but individuals, perhaps, with that as well.
Yes.
So if you want to get in touch with Melanie, you can do that through her website. Go to tax.freetalklive.com, tax.freetalklive.com, and do that as we continue here with continuing coverage of the upcoming talks between North Korea and the United States, Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un coming together in what is an absolutely unprecedented meeting, not only in the size and the sort of the breadth and the scope of it, with 3,000 journalists expected to attend. That's incredible right there. The fact that they're going to do this not behind closed doors with close advisors, but with the entire world watching it live. I mean, that's tremendous there. We've also talked about the overtures that Kim Jong-un has made over the last couple of months, meeting with the South Korean president for a summit, talking about ending the war, seemingly committing to ending the Korean War. That's huge. I mean, that's been going on since what, the early 50s, basically?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about 60-plus years of this ongoing conflict between those nations. The role that the North Korean head of state has played during my lifetime, at least since I've been paying attention, has always been this sort of laughable, violent creature that sort of got this saber that they're rattling constantly, and constantly issuing threats to people in the world, in the United States, and so on.
How is that different than any other country, though? Like, there's nothing unique about North Korea.
There is something unique about North Korea. The fact is, most every other country you can easily, relatively easily travel to compared to North Korea. North Korea does not let any information out through any other channels beyond state media. There are other countries with state media in them, but many of them have other media that exist within those countries. Not all of them, but there's a lot of that. And of course, Reporters Without Borders
North Korea is just about everything bad about a country.
About everything,
all concentrated into one.
Right. It's a closed state. They don't even allow their own people to leave. It's just an absolutely horrible place. I'm not saying there aren't other horrible places in the world. Sierra Leone, of course, comes to mind, and there are others, sort of on the bottom of the pack. When you look at the Economic Freedom of the World indexes that come out, the Heritage Foundation.
They pretty much all have dictators, too.
Right. So the Heritage Foundation, and then is it Cato? Who else is doing it?
Cato.
Fraser Institute. Fraser Institute's one of them.
Yep.
So there's a couple different groups out there that do these economic freedom indexes, and North Korea is always at the bottom of the list, usually with no score.
No score at all, because they
no
don't have
data.
any information.
Right, there's no data. You can't get information out of this country. I mean, it is unique in a variety of ways. It's the worst of the worst of the worst, all rolled into one. And so it's interesting to see the caricature of this North Korean so-called supreme leader, which to us on the outside is this laughable thing, right?
Well, yeah, he's not within missile distance of us.
Sure. But, I mean, it's just ridiculous, the propaganda and the things that go on that the North Korean people are forced to endure over there. It's insane. It's crazy.
It's all those things, yes.
But it seems to be changing. And it seems to have started changing within the last 2 months to where Kim Jong-un seems to be changing his public persona, his image, to be somebody who's acting more rationally. To be somebody who is acting in the best interests of not only his own people, but in the best interests of the whole world. I mean, in the last decade or two, you would think that North Korea was always going to be this way. That North Korea was always going to be this closed state.
Trump isn't helping. If Trump wanted to lift the sanctions, or whoever's in charge of that, they could just lift the sanctions.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have a deal.
To...
You got to make a deal.
Yeah, Trump loves deals.
You don't just lift the sanctions. You go in and you cut a deal before you lift the sanctions.
I mean, look at the deal with Iran. He didn't like that deal, probably because it wasn't a deal he put together. I really wish some people would have asked him on the campaign trail, when you say that the Iranian deal is bad, could you describe what is bad about it? No, wait, that's not a description. Saying it's very, very bad. Adding very to something is not a description as to what is bad about the... I mean, like, that's the thing, is that the Trump supporters, maybe Trump is a genius. I have no clue. Maybe he's a negotiating genius, but he, again, I don't think he has the depth and breadth of knowledge on many of these things, and just attacked the Iranian deal largely because Obama put it together and the Democrats put it together, and he could get put in office because he's a deal maker. But I don't think you can deal with the Iranians the same way that you deal with the North Vietnamese. The North Korean, excuse me.
So the dealing is expected to begin over in Singapore with probably within a matter of hours. Mainstream media already beginning their live wall-to-wall coverage on the internet, at least. There's not much to show or tell you about at the moment, but certainly by the time we're here again tomorrow night, there's probably going to be quite a bit to say on this situation. But more about the denuclearization, the initial gesture by Kim Jong-un, where they actually destroyed in front of international journalists a nuclear test site in the northern part of North Korea. Again, Kim Jong-un saying during his summit with President Moon Jae-in of South Korea, quote, "If we maintain frequent meetings and build trust with the United States and receive promises for an end to the war and a non-aggression treaty, then why would we need to live in difficulty by keeping our nuclear weapons?" Unquote. Now, there are, according to Lisa Collins, a Korea expert at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, she says there are multiple audiences they're targeting. I think one is the United States, the other is probably China. I'm sure they're also hoping to convince South Korea that they're serious about creating conditions for peace on the Korean peninsula. However, according to the NPR piece here, letting in a smattering of foreign journalists is different from North Korea's original pledge following the April 27th summit, in which Pyongyang announced that it would let in international journalists as well as nuclear experts to observe the dismantling of the test site.
Okay.
Journalists on the trip said no such experts were joining them for the visible gesture put on by Kim.
All right.
So a slight change in the purported plans there. Collins also says, quote, "It would have been a greater indicator of their intention to dismantle their program if they had invited nuclear experts." She does add that although both sides agree the Korean peninsula should become denuclearized, they remain far apart on what that word actually means. The U.S. wants North Korea to unilaterally hand over its nuclear weapons, but North Korea likely has a laundry list of prerequisites, including the drawing down of U.S. troop levels on the Korean peninsula. Yes, please. Can we have that? That would be great. Because, you know, the U.S. government has been occupying South Korea ever since the Korean War began.
Let's not forget that South Korea can handle itself.
Yeah, they've got mandatory military
decades
there.
And decades to put this together. They're fine. They do not need U.S. military right on the border. If you need to provide close air support, if you need to provide, for whatever reason, launch a missile, you've got, first off, when it comes to missile launches, the submarines can be closer to the sites than the South Korean border, and I don't believe there are any missiles in South Korea anyway. So the submarines can launch Triton missiles, as close as they need to, and the airplanes can get there very, very quickly.
The rest of the statement here is that North Korea's prerequisites may include drawing down of troop levels on the Korean peninsula, a cessation of joint military exercises, and the delivery of foreign aid. It was the joint military exercises that were going on that upset Kim Jong-un or the other government in Pyongyang immediately after, right? So they had this summit that's now going forward. The summit was scheduled originally, but then these joint military exercises happened again, as they regularly do.
Right.
And, North Korea was like, hey, come on.
Yeah, you don't get your opponent to set his gun on the table and then do a cowboy spin flip and put yours back in your holster.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a good way to make friends.
But they managed to get through it, and now the things scheduled to begin here in a matter of hours. And we're going to continue not on this topic. We got schooling on the way here and suicide next on Free Talk Live, not on the air.
If you or anyone you love has been diagnosed with lung cancer, asbestosis, or mesothelioma, your diagnosis may be the result of job-related exposure to asbestos, and you may be entitled to compensation. Over $30 billion in trusts have been set aside for individuals who have been affected by asbestos exposure. How do you protect your rights and get the compensation you deserve? Call Capital Legal Group now at 800-400-LUNG. Capital Legal Group is one of the nation's resources for settlement of lung cancer and mesothelioma cases. Law firms have successfully recovered over $2.7 billion for their clients in all 50 states, and claims have been paid in as little as 60 days. If you or a family member were diagnosed with lung cancer, asbestosis, or mesothelioma, call Capital Legal Group now at 800-400-LUNG. We'll open a no-cost case review on your behalf. A history of tobacco use or cigarette smoking will not disqualify your case. Visit 800-400-LUNG.com or call 800-400-LUNG. Call 800-400-5864 now. That's 800-400-LUNG.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, June 11th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.83 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,298 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,765. Antiwar.com reports the full recount ordered by Iraq's parliament last week, and the May 12th election will not be happening. A fire Sunday in Baghdad destroyed one of the storage sites for ballots and reportedly destroyed a number of them. Salim al-Jabouri, the Speaker of Iraq's parliament, said the fire was a deliberate attempt to manipulate the vote and is calling for the country to have a totally new election. He's claiming the fire is proof of fraud. A revote could only be good for Jabouri, who lost his seat in the May 12th vote. Prime Minister Haider Abadi, whose party did very poorly in that vote, is also playing up the idea that the fire was an attempt to cover up vote fraud. Iraqi officials are giving all the signs they think this fire is intentional, but the officials complaining loudest about it seem to be the beneficiaries of it, allowing them to push for the election they lost to be thrown out. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co. UPI reports a federal judge on Saturday halted the deportation of a man who was detained while delivering pizza to a U.S. Army base. Judge Allison J. Nathan of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York stayed the deportation of a 35-year-old Ecuadorian native, Pablo Villavicencia Calderon, until a hearing on July 20th. Nathan also ordered federal officials to file court documents explaining why he should not be granted a temporary preliminary injunction. Calderon, who was detained while delivering pizza to the U.S. Army garrison Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn, will continue to be held at the Hudson County Correctional Facility in New Jersey. Legal Aid Society lawyer Gregory Copeland said, "Although we are disappointed that Pablo will remain detained, today's stay is a victory for him and his family and also for due process and the fair administration of justice." New York Governor Andrew Cuomo wrote, "There's compelling evidence that Pablo Villavicencia was improperly detained," adding he should be immediately released from ICE custody and an investigation should be launched into the circumstances of his arrest. Lawyers from the Legal Aid Society of New York filed a petition with the New York field office of ICE on Friday to have him released on humanitarian reasons, as he is the primary provider for his wife and 2 children, all of whom are U.S. citizens. The suit also notes his youngest daughter, 2 years old, has a congenital heart defect. The Legal Aid Society filed another lawsuit claiming Villavicencia was the victim of racial profiling and the detention violated his civil rights. Villavicencia is in the process of applying to become a legal permanent resident. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio posted on Twitter, "Delivering pizza is not a risk to public safety." For over 40 years, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the head of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Sunday urged residents of 8 U.S. states to check for recalled pre-cut melon that is linked to an outbreak of salmonella. The FDA and U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are investigating an outbreak linked to 60 illnesses and at least 31 hospitalizations in 5 states. No deaths have been reported, and the agencies urged residents in the 8 states to throw out the melon that may have been recalled. On Friday, Cato Foods, LLC, a unit of Spartan Nash Company, recalled fresh-cut watermelon, honeydew melon, cantaloupe, and fresh-cut mixed fruit products containing at least one of those melons produced at a Cato food facility in Indianapolis. The recalled products were distributed to Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Missouri, North Carolina, and Ohio, and sold in clear plastic containers at stores including Costco, Kroger, Payless, Owens, Sprouts, Trader Joe's, Walgreens, Walmart, and Whole Foods. FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb urged people in the 8 states to check the fridge and freezer for recalled pre-cut melon linked to salmonella outbreak. Of the 60 cases reported to date, 32 were in Michigan. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Publicists everywhere agreed this week that the nation's celebrities are in dire need of more fame, stressing that all 6 billion of the world's populace should know every U.S. celebrity by name and face by now. Publicists are calling for an emergency influx of buzz, heat, press, and word of mouth to be administered to the nation's celebrities immediately in order to prevent crucial fame levels from becoming dangerously low. Novelist Edward Milligan told reporters this week that in his new book, By the Water's Edge, he has fleshed out in meticulous detail his own huge and stunningly shitty world. Using in-depth research and the power of his own imagination, Milligan was able to conjure out of thin air every hackneyed character, trite street name, and horseshit backstory in the fictional town of Connors Cove. The complete hack proudly said he has created a universe that readers will feel they can actually reach out and touch. Sources say the prolific writer has not yet been punched repeatedly in the face. In other news, McDonald's opens a new senior citizen play place.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We just saw through the ABC News feed on their YouTube channel what was a historic moment, as the commentators on ABC pointed out. 65 years in the making. The very first time in the history of North Korea that there has ever been a meeting or handshake or any kind of contact between, direct contact between the so-called supreme leader of North Korea and the president of the United States. It just happened. So we were speculating in the last hour or two. We spent the first 2 hours talking about North Korea and the United States historic summit happening today. And some of the things we did not know that we weren't clear on is that there's apparently 3,000 journalists present, but they are going to have a closed-door meeting. So that's what they're going into right now. And the other thing we were wrong about was the timing. The question was, are they going to start on time? And we had suggested, and Melanie, you'd said that they probably won't for security issues, but I guess they got the security handled because this was 9 o'clock sharp. Trump got out of a limousine at 9 o'clock sharp, basically, and then Kim sauntered over, and minutes later, I mean, here we are at 9:07 Eastern Time. It's 9:07 p.m. when we're doing this Eastern Time. It's 9 a.m. right now in Singapore where this is happening. And so we just watched as the two men met and shook hands, and you could not read, we couldn't read their lips or anything like that, but,
You can't read lips anyway.
I'm terrible at it.
I can sit 4 feet from you and mouth words that and you're like, what?
So Trump, they greeted each other, they shook hands, Trump, reached out, touched him on the arm, and they sort of walked down a hallway where they stopped for a moment and continued to talk, where both of them were smiling and mutually kind of touching each other on the arm.
Diplomatic touching.
Well.
It's diplomatic touching, people.
Yeah, that just sounds really weird.
Now, they do have footage coming in here from this summit. I'm just going to check in with the audio.
This is the time ABC drops the F-bomb.
So they're both sitting in front of multiple flags. They've got an arrangement of flowers.
Got to have some flags.
And a desk. So you've got the U.S. flag interspersed with the North Korean flag, multiple flags behind them.
They've been tremendously successful. And it's my honor, and we will have a terrific relationship, I have no doubt.
So, positive comments here initially to start things out, and we'll see how this all ends up. Let's go to your phone calls here. Your thoughts are welcome on whatever's on your mind. Coming up, and big smiles right now on the live feed here from Kim Jong-un. So we'll see what this turns into. But it's Ian, Melanie, and Mark here in the studio tonight as this historic moment is happening. I don't get excited by what governments do generally. I think they're thugs. I think they're criminals. But having a de-escalation of tensions between two so-called nations that have been at war for decades, I think is something worth talking about.
Yeah, it made me. I got a little emotional about it too. I'm excited to see what happens, mostly for the North Korean people, so that they can have a better life for themselves.
Absolutely. So let's go to Jack. He's calling from Ware, New Hampshire, and we're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Jack.
Hey there, Ian. How you doing?
Hey, great.
Melanie.
Hey.
What's on your mind, Jack?
Huh?
What's on your mind? We're going to see you here shortly at Fork Fest and the Porcupine Freedom Festival.
That's right. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to both of the events. I try to go to every freedom event I can go to, and we're always trying to, promote the freedom perspective. And, I have a slightly different perspective, which is why I actually back in 2007 started this. Well, 2006 we were discussing the alternatives and the alternatives exposition, and 2007 kind of came to a head, and we actually started it upstairs from Liberty Forum.
Now, this is the Alternatives Expo. For listeners who are unfamiliar with this, it's something we've covered for years here on Free Talk Live. We've had you on as a guest from many of these events that the Free State Project has put on.
Multiple times, yeah.
And
that's right.
If I recall correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jack, this started back with the Liberty Forum in its very first edition back in, 2007, I think it was.
February 2007. We actually started organizing that, of course, in 2006, I think in the fall sometime.
And part of the reason for it was that you guys just didn't feel like the Free State Project's event really covered all the bases. It didn't cover all the topics you wanted to hear discussed. So you just started your own event happening in the same hotel.
Exactly. And a lot of people are kind of new to this movement, but that's actually been the tradition going back, way, way back.
Right.
People would rent a suite. They'd have their own little, caucus or platch or whatever. And the various different conferences, they always had variety. So, we're trying to keep that variety and that freedom to talk.
Yeah, and I don't think it was. There might have been some people who got their panties in a wad over it, but ultimately, I think it was welcomed. The idea of, hey, if you don't think the thing that exists is good enough, create another thing and compete, and let's do it. Do it better. And you guys did it at the same time, so both events coexisted, and they sort of shared participants to some extent. And some people might have just come for the Alternatives Expo, while some people might have just come for the Liberty Forum. But a lot of people did some crossover between the two.
Yeah, I thought some of the speeches I've seen at the Alt Expo have been better than the speeches I've seen at Liberty Forum. Not usually as well attended, but it's happened.
Yeah, we have the smaller talks. We don't have a big budget, and we don't have a big auditorium and all that. But one of the things that I saw happening all the way back then was the main Liberty Forum organizers wanted to have all the talks about politics and how to run for office and how to circulate petitions and how to and I said, well, wait, what about the alternatives? And the lead organizer back then said, you mean alternative energy? And I said, no, alternative everything. And that's kind of the genesis of our concept. And we got this 1 hour time frame to have a panel and have 4 different speakers. And then they didn't like the speakers I had, so they canceled it. So I said, all right, you guys, come on. And that was 3 weeks before Liberty Forum started. And I went home, and a computer friend of mine got me a domain name, which we actually lost later because he was a slacker. But,
I was going to ask you what happened to the Alt Expo website, because it is currently in Chinese.
Yeah, somebody Chinese is squatting on my site. Not mine anymore.
Not yours anymore.
I'll tell you in person sometime.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the
Okay.
difficulties of with the Alt Expo is that you guys you've had to put this together all on your own. Sponsorship has been basically Jack working harder so that he can get some money, working overtime so he can have a little extra money to pay for the tents and the things that are needed and that sort of thing. But you get some sponsorship this year.
Well, right. So you've been doing Alt Expo at Liberty Forum and the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and
this has got to be number 17 or 18 or something.
It's a lot, and this. Go ahead.
This is Fork Fest is going to be number 27, or we call it 3x9, and the Alt Expo at Fork Fest is number 28. Because we've actually done them at Libertopia. We did 2 or 3 over in Vermont at the Freedom and Unity Festival. I think I did Alt Expo 2.1 and 2.2 and 2.3 one year. So I kind of lost count there. I kind of screwed up the count.
And this is going to be the first time that Alt Expo has been at Fork Fest, I believe. Fork Fest, the new decentralized libertarian camping festival here in New Hampshire. It's Fork Fest's second year, so it was just so small last year that very few people were there. This going into its second year, you guys have announced you're going to have your tents up, in time for Friday evening? When are you going to be there?
The tent's going to be set up between 9 and 10 a.m. Friday. So come on over, help me set up everything inside. And I want to have a real shout-out to you guys, a lot of gratitude for Free Talk Live being a sponsor of our hospitality tent.
Awesome.
And I got a great suggestion. We used to always call it the Expo Lounge. Everybody's welcome to come there and hang out, and, there'll be beverages and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I suggest this year, because you guys are sponsoring it, we call it the Free Talk Lounge.
Love it.
What do you
Like
think of
Free
that?
Talk Live, Free Talk Lounge?
I'm excited. We actually got Free Talk Live banners made up just for the occasion. We've never had banners before for Free Talk Live. So
no kidding.
Yeah, so we're going to bring some banners. And I think Bitcoin.com is also a major sponsor of the Alt Expo this year. So, Jack, we're looking forward to catching up with you on Friday. Come see us as soon as you get your tent set up, and we're going to do an extended interview with you then. We'll talk details about what's happening. All right?
That sounds great.
Thanks for the call tonight. That's Jack Shimmick, the creator of the Alt Expo. We'll be talking more about that from Fork Fest, which is coming up later this week. We'll tell you more coming up.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dynavite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies, grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynavite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
And Cindy Lukasevic.
inviting you and your pets to Dynavite.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by voluntarists with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com.
Yesterday, two groups of men shot at each other near Tobagram Base, where I am. Today, the soldiers are happy about some of the men dying and sad about other men dying. Sergeant First Class Aaron Tomlin is only sad about 4 of the dead people.
It's a long, tough day here. We lost 4 good men.
No, 27 men died. 4 American soldiers and 23 Taliban soldiers. You said that 4 soldiers die and it makes you sad. But you said when Taliban soldiers die, it does not make you sad. I asked Base Commander David Hawkins to make it make sense.
The last thing we resort to is hurting anyone. But you have to understand, it's our job to keep the American people safe from our enemies. And sometimes that includes...
So if you kill your enemies at your job, it is not sad.
Well,
What if I killed my enemy Ryan at my job? It would not be sad?
no, you shouldn't do that.
But he is rude to me. He steals my yogurts. He makes fun of the way I talk.
Look, only soldiers can kill without getting in trouble.
Okay. Are you going to kill Ryan?
No.
It does not make sense.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in here toll free. Take control of the airwaves. 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Skype username is LRN.FM. Our Discord on-air call-in line room is available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. One of our Discord chatters said that he tried calling in once and he had to sit on hold for so long he gave up. And obviously he wasn't calling on a weekday, because almost every weekday, it's almost always wide open phone lines.
He also seemed to not be serious if you read what he wrote before that.
Oh, okay. I didn't read the whole
No, he was just being obnoxious.
I think that's what people imagine about talk radio.
I think
though.
they do, yeah.
And
it's wrong.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I got to say.
We're not supposed to say that, but it's.
Talking to hosts at the Talkers, event that we were just at
the convention
last week
in Manhattan.
It's not exactly, it's not exactly a unique problem.
Right.
Now, yeah, if you want to call into Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity, where they take 1 or 2 calls an hour, maybe.
If that, per show, maybe.
Yeah, whatever
Depends.
it is. Yeah. Then, yeah, you're going to sit on hold the whole show and then not get on.
Yep.
But that's not what happens on Free Talk Live or a variety of other shows out there. And you can really amplify your voice. If you feel like there's a...
Jack Shimmick just called in from Alt Expo. We didn't... You actually asked... You guys were talking or whatever, and you were like, hey, man, just call on in if you want.
No. He said he wanted to call in.
Yeah, but you were like, phones are wide open.
Wide open.
So anyway, that's how it always is here during weeknights on Free Talk Live. If you call on a Saturday night, there's a higher chance you're going to have to wait on hold, because we do have a higher level of participation due to having more radio stations airing the show in large markets.
But so, if you recognize a caller on a Saturday night, that caller generally is going to go to the back of the line.
Correct.
And it's going to be people from whom you have not heard. So you still have a pretty good chance if you're not a regular.
If you hear a regular caller on the air on Free Talk Live on Saturday night, it means we're probably almost out of calls.
Yeah, that's
because we're taking them last, basically. So the toll-free number again, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. As just moments ago, the historic moment with Donald Trump meeting Kim Jong-un for the very first time in the history of North Korea that something like this has happened. According to the AP's immediately published report on the event, they have met at this 9 a.m. summit. They plan to meet one-on-one for most of an hour, joined only by translators. Then aides to each will be joining in for further discussions and a working lunch.
You think Trump has a favorite Korean translator?
I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, that's the latest on that story. You can bring up anything you want. In fact, we're going to change gears and move into the world of so-called government education And Melanie, you've got a story about education and suicide. Government school, does it lead to suicide?
This guy from FEE says yes.
That's the Foundation for Economic Education.
Yes. So, and he's not exactly an anarchist. He starts out the article by talking about gun control, but then he goes on to say suicide is the third leading cause of death for school-age children over 10 years old. And
I wonder what number 1 and 2 are.
Swimming pools is probably in there. Over 10? Yeah, could be.
Huh.
And the second leading cause behind accidents and ahead of homicides for those over 15. So they tell us for 15 and not for 10.
Okay.
The evidence is now overwhelming that our coercive system of schooling plays a large role in these deaths and in the mental anguish so many young people experience below the threshold for suicide.
It says that shootings are now the third leading cause of death for kids in the U.S. I just saw that.
Okay.
4 years ago, I posted a link from a mental health facility in Connecticut showing the relationship between pediatric emergency mental health visits and the school year over a 3-year period, 2011 to 2013. Those data revealed that the average monthly number of emergency mental health intakes for school-age children declined from 185 in May, which apparently there is the last full month of school, to 102 in June, the month in which school lets out, and then down to 74 and 66 respectively in July and August, the full months of freedom from school. In September, the rate started its climb back up again. Overall, the rate of such visits during the school months was slightly more than twice what it was in July and August. When I wrote that article, I did not know of any other studies assessing mental health breakdown as a function of school calendar.
It's interesting. Now, certainly correlation is not necessarily causation, but it sure is interesting.
But that just looks really bad.
Kids aren't killing themselves in summer.
During the summer.
You know, they're enjoying themselves. They're having a great time.
They're doing what they want to do rather than what they're being forced to do by the government.
They're not even necessarily doing what they want to do. Most 10-year-olds probably don't have that kind of control over their life. But they're not being put in a gaslighting, abusive, sometimes physically abusive day prison.
Right. And, you know, many times in school, when you're talking about abuse and that sort of thing, you're dealing with some bully who's not just a bully, but also skilled at not getting caught at being a bully, right? The bully is probably bullying several people. The individual is probably not dealing with multiple bullies. So when the individual fights back, in whatever manner they fight back, stands up and raises their voice or, you know, strikes them or whatever it is that the individual does, they're the one who gets in trouble. And this happens over and over to the point that they don't feel they can fight back.
Right.
Yeah, and then you're also bullied by the adults, and I think that in itself is a form of abuse where, okay, so we're going to let this other kid abuse you, and then if you do something about it or even say something about it, because they have that no snitching rule in schools,
punish you.
then you're in trouble for that.
And or just force them to do things against their will, like homework or, you know, test studying or whatever other crap that they want to do.
I mean, that's, you know, going on to the other point, which is that government schools are middle-class welfare, babysitting day prisons. And
people in prison commit suicide.
Yep, they do, probably at a higher rate than most. And there's a lot of abusive people abusing their fellows in prison. They're not going after the prison guards very often. The teachers complain about the students and all that, but you know, the teachers are probably dealing with less than the students are dealing with.
And because it's day prison, they don't have a suicide watch cell, you know, for the nighttime or whatever. During, you know, if you're in prison and they get the feeling that you might be trying to kill yourself or interested in killing yourself, you're going to go in the suicide cell, and then you're going to be under, you know, heavy monitoring because they do not want you.
Isn't necessarily a better option for the prisoner all the time?
I didn't say it was a better option. I was just comparing the difference between prison and the day prison of school. The child in the school can go home and kill themselves. They don't have to actually kill themselves in the institution.
And the parents don't have any idea what was going on that day.
Well, yeah, and in prison, at least, there's a sense of, okay, this is a punishment. Yes, I'm doing X, Y, Z to you, and I'm doing it to you because I don't like you. This is a punishment. Whereas in school, there's this aura of this is for your own good. You should enjoy this. The more kind of Stockholm gaslighting.
We're helping you.
Type of abuse, which is worse, especially if it's the same on a physical level.
We're going to continue here. There's more analysis of this, I presume,
yes.
on the way here from the Foundation for Economic Education, who's also going to report on unschooling, and I've got that story as well. We can, of course, take your calls about anything you want to discuss, whether it's international, political symbolism, or suicide from going to government school. Whatever you want. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10 years shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free and join us on the radio here if you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about suicide. specifically in the context of students at government schools. And Melanie, you're sharing an interesting story from the Foundation for Economic Education, which is looking at suicide statistics and noting that, looks like kids are less likely to commit suicide when they're not in school.
And other mental health issues as well, yes.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that here in moments. Your calls and thoughts certainly welcome. I mentioned Bitcoin.com earlier. They are one of the sponsors of the Alt Expo tent coming up here at the Fork Fest, which is starting on Thursday this week. We're going to be hitting the road bright and early so we can do our first show from Fork Fest on Thursday.
Yep.
So very excited about that. And Bitcoin.com, of course, a longtime sponsor here on Free Talk Live. It's a great site to go to learn the basics, to get your head straight on exactly what Bitcoin is and where it came from, the history, if you will, of cryptocurrency. It all started with Bitcoin. So learn some more over at Bitcoin.com and then get the latest news headlines when you want them, because Bitcoin.com has them on their news site every single day. Fresh headlines from around the globe in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency at news.bitcoin.com. That again is news.bitcoin.com. Let's go to the phones. To the phone, we got David. He's in New Mexico on Skype. Hello, David.
Yeah, Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I wasn't going to call because you guys were on a roll about Trump and the Korean dude, but your little speech just now prompted me to change my mind, and I called you to finish up what I was saying yesterday. I didn't get to the serious part. Oh, and
what were you saying yesterday? Because some of our listeners weren't here.
Well, first of all, there was two parts. There was the fun stuff to take my mind off the serious stuff, and then there was the serious to finish up the fun stuff. The debate between soccer and football and who should own the name for football. When I said that I'd like to see if American football is going to get renamed, I'd like to see it named footsie, even though soccer looks more like footsie. I would love to see big burly dudes out on the field playing footsie. That's why I'd like to see that.
Has there been talk about renaming American football?
Well, I mean, there's difficulty with the term football, right? So there's American football, there's Australian rules football, and the rest of the world calls soccer football, right? No, when they call it football.
Yeah.
Like, you speak English, son.
It's a better word. Football describes soccer better than football describes American football.
Agreed.
And don't forget foosball. There's foosball to complicate things further.
Indeed. But there are lots of games called football, and it's a really sort of elementary name for any game.
A foot contacting a ball.
Right. Yeah. I mean, who came up with this? This is pretty lame. Soccer, everybody knows what you mean when you say soccer.
Sure.
Whereas when you say football, everybody does not know what you mean.
Okay.
So eliminate the word or give new names.
But was this actually in the news? Is the NFL actually
I can't remember what came up, but sometimes Free Talk Live gets off track.
We love talking about words. Yeah. Sure. All right, so go on.
I think the Neanderthal started that whole thing, so
that would be
have to ask him.
Yeah.
On the serious side, what I wanted to get to, but I sidelined myself with the fun stuff. Because it's more fun. I had alluded this, or I mentioned this on your program before, and it doesn't have. It has to do with radio stations, media. It doesn't have to do with your program, your station, or your carrier here in Albuquerque. It has to do with your carrier's competition. And what they've been doing is I've been fighting a battle, ad nauseum, and everybody's sick of it, especially me, for the last 10 years. And the main station that handles talk radio in this market doesn't like to broach the subject of parents and children, ratings killer, or because they're sick of hearing my voice, just like I'm sick of hearing my voice. But what they did is from the beginning, number one, they don't like that topic, even though, and it's kind of hypocritical because on talk radio, the main subject of talk radio is complaining about the government. The government does everything wrong.
And
but then when you call in, but then when you call in and tell them how the government did something wrong in the area of parents and children, nobody wants to hear about it.
The difficulty with it, in their defense, David, is that the difficulty is that they know it was decided by a judge at some point in some manner or another. The other side isn't here to say anything, so they end up just sort of commiserating with you on a topic that they can't be sure that you're telling the truth on. You're a convincing caller. I tend to believe it. I I also tend to believe that if I had to pick a gender in a dispute over child custody, that gender that I would pick would be female. But as the host, I understand what it's like in their circumstances. They're just not sure.
Right. Yeah. And that's why going a little bit sideways here, but that's why I've trained myself not to say anything that I can't pull out a court document, the state's own records, or I don't even have to pull it out. I can point you to where you can go get that document yourself to verify what I say. And I realize that nobody's going to take me up on. Nobody's going to go to the trouble of actually verifying, whatever the press does.
Yeah, people only do that when they hate you. They have to hate, and they have to hate you a lot.
They have to hate you a whole bunch.
I got a whole lot of people that hate me a whole lot, but I guess I feel better because they're not hating me enough to go to verify the record. Yeah. But anyway, let me cut to the chase. The recent thing was on Sunday, Steve Pierce, who is a U.S. congressman from the state of New Mexico, who's trying to he's retiring from, he's not running again for that position because he wants to cap his career with being the king of the governor of New Mexico. So he's running for the governor of New Mexico, even though it hurts his own party for him to give up that Republican seat and risk the opposite party gaining that seat. He's doing it to gratify himself.
Well, of course. I mean, he's a politician. I mean, he doesn't care about the party. That's just what got him to where he is. If he can help himself by throwing his party into the wilderness, he'll do it.
Yeah, these people aren't really like activists or people who are just solidly philosophical.
Yeah,
this is a job to them.
He's doing it for the people of New Mexico.
This dude Pierce, he made himself $20 million plus in the oil fields of New Mexico, and he just celebrated himself by he took his private plane and flew it around the world for the hell of it. So he could have donated that money to charity, but no, he flew himself solo around the world in his private plane. But anyway, he was on the radio.
Terribly expensive in a private plane.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with if somebody has honest money and they want to spend their money on flying around in a private plane. Go for it. You don't have an obligation to feed everybody else. But
yeah, I was just suggesting it was in keeping with the ego aspect that Ian had just suggested, that it's probably has something to do with ego when you need to fly yourself around the world in a small plane just to have done it, even though when you do it, it's not, it's one leg after another, and all the legs are like all the ones before. If you wanted to see it, and you don't get to see any of the destinations anyway, because you need to keep going if you're going to make it continue your trip around the world. He did it in rapid pace. He didn't take his time and see stuff. He was just around the world.
Is it a prop plane?
Yeah, a Mooney. Mooney is the brand of plane that he has, I believe.
David, anything else real fast? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, real fast, and I'll continue it some other time. But the bottom line is they specifically block. This guy is my own representative. I am his constituent. Almost nobody else that calls in is his constituent. But they block me from speaking to my own representative, and on this radio station, they block me from speaking to my own. And the complaint that I have against my own representative is that on that very radio station, 3 different times and 3 different years, like he does to everybody else, he volunteers to take my information and contact me, and never in the 3 different times
he never did.
Contacted.
Yep. That figures. David, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Yeah, you can't trust these people. Can't trust him.
Well, I mean, yeah, we kind of know that.
He had all that time flying. You think he'd have just picked up a cell phone and called a guy?
Yeah. Hey, toll-free number here tonight, 855-450 free, like freedom.
Not very high, no.
855-450-3733. They are open phones here every single night on Free Talk Live. You can call in, bring up whatever you want on the radio waves in a bunch of markets across the United States. Now with 193 radio stations, this is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
I tried other brands, but I came back to My Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
Our homegrown small business tries to help people just like us. That's why we design and test our handmade products with great care before we introduce them to the public. You can easily find Sunny Bay heating pads on Amazon. Just go to Amazon.com and search for Sunny Bay heating pads.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain. There's enough time for you with your calls and thoughts here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
We've got Skype, so you can call us there if you like. Skype username is LRN.FM. Our Discord on-air call-in line room is also available to you. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. Hop into the very top chat room there. There's only room for one chatter, and then we will join you into that room, and you'll be on the air with us, and you can talk about anything that's on your mind. Something else we're going to be doing this weekend, I imagine we'll be talking with the proprietor, the owner, the creator, the tech guy behind Liberty.menu, because I know for a fact he is intending on attending the Fork Fest, which is coming up this weekend. It starts actually on Thursday. It's probably going to be a slow run-up, I would imagine. A lot of people saying they're going to be showing up on Saturday because, people get off work Friday, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, but we're going to be there on Thursday, the official first day of Fork Fest, and I'm sure we're going to be talking with the creator creator of Liberty.menu, because he launched Liberty.menu last year at around this time, at around the time of the original Forkfest. And so it'll be basically its 1-year anniversary. And Liberty.menu is, of course, a place where people who believe in freedom, libertarian types, voluntarists, individuals who reject the initiation of force, and who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. This is a libertarian business directory. And it also has it's got listings for digital content creators and also events. So different types of listings. They can all be rated and reviewed. And there's a bit of a social networking aspect, so you can connect with other libertarians there. Go to liberty.menu. You can check it out. It's free to use Liberty.menu, so if you got some sort of thing that you do, maybe you got more than one business that you're involved in, you can put them all up there completely free. Liberty.menu, and you can use code FTL. You'll get a special badge on your user information there over at Liberty.menu as we continue here. And again, don't forget Forkfest. We're going to be broadcasting from that event, and we're going to be broadcasting during the daytime. So if you're walking around the campsites at Forkfest, you'll see us. We're going to have a tent. We'll have our equipment out there, and maybe we'll be talking to you while you're there. Over at forkfest.party. It's happening June 14th through the 18th. If you're going to be up in New England this weekend and you weren't already planning to come on up, well, come on up and see us and hang out with some other libertarians at one of the most beautiful campgrounds, one of the most beautiful properties you might ever spend time on.
I mean, people have said it over and over again that that's the best view they've ever seen. It might be the best view I've ever seen. I just love it.
It's so beautiful. The White Mountains all around you. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. So go to forkfest.party. You can join the Forkfest Telegram group. And that, of course, is likely going to be even more hopping with activity. It's already got about 45 members in there, so presuming the supermajority of them are actually going to attend, we are going to likely see a greater attendance this year than last year. People are already gearing up to offer food services at Forkfest this year, which will be a first, because, again, last year was its first event, so this is the second year. Last year there was no food whatsoever available on the campground except for the camp snack bar or whatever, and their hours are limited. Now there's people going to be cooking. So our co-host Will Coley and his family are going to be there offering some Asian cuisine. Somebody else has said they're going to be doing tacos, and rumor has it there might be at least one or two other food service offerings there during Forkfest. And, of course, we're looking forward to it. So we'll see you there at forkfest.party. There's also a Forkfest forum. It's decentralized. There's no organizers. There's no ticket price. So, really, there's no reason not to come on up and enjoy the company of other liberty-minded folks, people who are not like Sarah in New Mexico. She's a communist. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to bring up 1,000 bicyclists were killed in 2015.
Like all at once, like a big bicyclist massacre?
No, I'm talking about throughout the whole year, and I think that's the United States, the U.S. statistics.
Okay.
So 2015. So, that's a lot of people that were killed as bicyclists.
Really not a lot of people if that's a stat from the U.S.
You don't think 1,000 bicyclists is not a big deal? So
I think that 1,000 people out of 300 million people is not a lot of people.
There's not as many bicyclists as there are cars.
By the police, you guys would make a big deal about it if they got killed on a bicycle, but that's okay, right?
No, it's not okay.
840 people were killed, so it's close enough to 1,000 for me to call, fudging numbers. I'm fine with that.
It's not okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's okay. I don't think it's okay.
Also, when someone's shot by the police, there's a clear person who's at fault. Whereas, 1,000 people died on bikes. Did somebody swerve into the sidewalk and hit them? Did somebody swerve into a trail and hit them? Did
the bicyclist swerve into the traffic?
At night wearing dark clothes? That number doesn't really tell me anything about who needs to stop doing what they're doing.
Right. Some bicyclists are hardcore. We're going to ride a bicycle, rain, sleet, or snow. We're into it. Bicycles save the world. Some people are really into bicycles. Other people are just drunks that can't drive anymore.
Dunker's going to be riding his bike. I think he said it's going to be about 16 hours to get from Keene, New Hampshire, 14 to 16 hours, all the way up to Rogers Campground.
You didn't offer him a ride?
I don't have room to take him up there, and besides, he loves riding his bike. The dude rode his bicycle from Florida.
Yeah, it's not Ian's job to buy Dunker a car one trip at a time.
Yeah, Dunker is a huge bicyclist. He rode from Florida all the way up to New Hampshire, and he's going to be riding up to, and this is actually going to be his first time, he told me, riding with like camping materials on his back. So he's going to be packing everything he needs up there on his bicycle. So pretty impressive.
Well, I hope that a driver that's texting and talking on cell phone don't run him off the road and run him off a bridge or something.
Well, we all hope that he makes it there in one piece. Sarah, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. And that is part of the risk that people knowingly take when you are doing a dangerous activity.
When you get on a road on a bicycle, there's 3, 4, 5,000 pound death machines flying by you.
Your life is in those people's hands.
It is.
Well, and so if you had a stat on, X amount of people were killed because the person who hit them was texting, or X amount of people were killed because the person who hit them wasn't paying attention, or something like that, that would be a relevant stat, and we could have a conversation about that. But just X amount of people died, that doesn't tell me anything that I can have an opinion on or debate or tell you anything about other than they're no longer alive. I mean, technically, if you're riding a bike and you die of a heart attack on the way there,
that's a bicycle accident.
That's a bicycle death.
Fatality.
So, just the fact that 1,000 people out of 300 million died does not tell me that a specific activity is what killed them.
Speaking of more correlative activities and statistics, let's get back into the story from the Foundation for Economic Education, which says that, according to the stats, more students, young people, are killing themselves while they're in school than during summer break. Go ahead with what else you want to share.
The researchers also found a continuous increase in the rate of psychiatric emergencies during school weeks, but not during school vacations. And then, so then it just goes, it basically just says, when there's school, children between 10 and 15 kill themselves and have other psychiatric issues
at twice the rate.
Yeah,
it's kind of usually I don't like data like this, but and as you were saying just moments ago, but one does wonder why if kids are killing themselves, suicide twice the rate during the school year as they do during the summertime. Why? I suppose you could blame some on
twice the monthly rate, just to be clear.
Seasonal affective disorder or something like that.
School is not. It's not always winter when there's school.
Right.
No, but that's going to drive up some of your numbers.
And there's also a gender disparity. For boys, the suicide rate was on average 95% higher during the school months than during summer vacation. For girls, it was only 33% higher, which makes sense to me also, but...
Wait, so boys are more likely to kill themselves because of school?
Yes.
Why does that make sense?
For two reasons. A, girls tend to, and we're talking about younger people here, so they haven't had time to be, I don't want to say indoctrinated necessarily, but to be molded into society or become feminists or anything like that. Women tend to be, as a group, kind of more submissive. So if they have to sit in the desk all day and someone tell them to do random tasks all day, I think they're going to have not necessarily like it, but they're going to have an easier time with that than, a boy going through puberty.
Interesting.
Also, I think that there's pretty explicit kind of, you're not going to be attacked for anything feminine. And then if you're a female who acts masculine...
Girls attack other girls, though.
Yeah, but you're not the teachers. I mean, I'm sure they do, but not... There's not a explicit, we need to get rid of, female nature, where there kind of is that for boys.
I see.
So, that I'm not surprised by that at all.
Wow. Fascinating statistics. Horrifying statistics. I mean, those are tragic circumstances for every single one of those families.
Yeah, just sitting here thinking, well, I'm glad my son isn't in school.
Yeah.
That's usually kind of up to the parents. So it's not like a stroke of luck that you didn't send your child to a day camp.
Well, to some extent, it was lucky that he came across the information to discourage him from being in government school.
It's not just this information. It's all the information.
Yeah.
There really isn't any information out there that says it's a good idea to send your kid to government school.
No doubt.
Other than
it's the worst idea.
It's inconvenient to homeschool.
Back tomorrow. Join us online in the meantime. freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, June 11th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.83 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,298 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,765. Antiwar.com reports the full recount ordered by Iraq's parliament last week, and the May 12th election will not be happening. A fire Sunday in Baghdad destroyed one of the storage sites for ballots and reportedly destroyed a number of them. Salim al-Jabouri, the Speaker of Iraq's parliament, said the fire was a deliberate attempt to manipulate the vote and is calling for the country to have a totally new election. He's claiming the fire is proof of fraud. A revote could only be good for Jabouri, who lost his seat in the May 12th vote. Prime Minister Haider Abadi, whose party did very poorly in that vote, is also playing up the idea that the fire was an attempt to cover up vote fraud. Iraqi officials are giving all the signs they think this fire is intentional, but the officials complaining loudest about it seem to be the beneficiaries of it, allowing them to push for the election they lost to be thrown out. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co. UPI reports a federal judge on Saturday halted the deportation of a man who was detained while delivering pizza to a U.S. Army base. Judge Allison J. Nathan of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York stayed the deportation of a 35-year-old Ecuadorian native, Pablo Villavicencia Calderon, until a hearing on July 20th. Nathan also ordered federal officials to file court documents explaining why he should not be granted a temporary preliminary injunction. Calderon, who was detained while delivering pizza to the U.S. Army garrison Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn, will continue to be held at the Hudson County Correctional Facility in New Jersey. Legal Aid Society lawyer Gregory Copeland said, although we are disappointed that Pablo will remain detained, today's stay is a victory for him and his family and also for due process and the fair administration of justice. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo wrote, "There's compelling evidence that Pablo Villavicencia was improperly detained," adding he should be immediately released from ICE custody and an investigation should be launched into the circumstances of his arrest. Lawyers from the Legal Aid Society of New York filed a petition with the New York field office of ICE on Friday to have him released on humanitarian reasons, as he is the primary provider for his wife and 2 children, all of whom are U.S. citizens. The suit also notes his youngest daughter, 2 years old, has a congenital heart defect. The Legal Aid Society filed another lawsuit claiming Villavicencia was the victim of racial profiling and the detention violated his civil rights. Villavicencia is in the process of applying to become a legal permanent resident. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio posted on Twitter, delivering pizza is not a risk to public safety. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the head of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Sunday urged residents of 8 U.S. states to check for recalled pre-cut melon that is linked to an outbreak of salmonella. The FDA and U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are investigating an outbreak linked to 60 illnesses and at least 31 hospitalizations in 5 states. No deaths have been reported, and the agencies urged residents in the 8 states to throw out the melon that may have been recalled. On Friday, Cato Foods, LLC, a unit of Spartan Nash Company, recalled fresh-cut watermelon, honeydew melon, cantaloupe, and fresh-cut mixed fruit products containing at least one of those melons produced at a Cato food facility in Indianapolis. The recalled products were distributed to Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Missouri, North Carolina, and Ohio, and sold in clear plastic containers at stores including Costco, Kroger, Payless, Owens, Sprouts, Trader Joe's, Walgreens,